that's not streaming anywhere. How am I supposed to get this? Well, it's on VHS, get a VHS recorder and buy it on eBay. All right. And now all of a sudden that little group is like, well, maybe we can maybe if we buy a VHS and then we'll burn it and trade it with everybody else.
Yeah,
and now they're all doing the work to do that. Well, good.
My daughter Gala is one of our producers on the show, and she's on the show with us. And one of her things is like we get together and we watch the video archives, and then we know the films, and then she doesn't have that access.
She doesn't have access. She's not there with us.
She represents one of the people out there. She's got to find it. So if Quentin finds something that's pretty difficult to find, she's got to track it down, and she usually has a little timetable to do it on. Yeah. And she kind of is doing her proof of concept on you can get these, you can find these. She'll VHS.
Yeah, she explains how she tracked it down, and so you can follow her guide.
If it's on YouTube, she'll tell you it's on YouTube.
However, when she goes, Quentin, I just couldn't track this one down. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. I think that's the real reason he likes to do the show.
That's right.
Eat shit, gotcha. Is everything on YouTube now?
A lot of things.
Not
everything, but a lot.
A lot of things.
Yeah, there's some certain things you can't find on YouTube still.
And if it's up there and it's not there, it'll be up again somewhere. It's like whack-a-mole.
Right.
It's like whack-a-mole.
There was the Gore Vidal film, the transsexual movie with Raquel Welch.
Yeah.
Oh, we watched that. Yeah. We didn't do an episode on it, but I had the video of that. We watched it. I was with Myra Breckenridge. I like that movie.
It's a crazy movie.
Well, the idea
when she fucks the guy in the ass. That's the best fucking scene. When she fucks the guy in the ass. I like that movie so much. I read the book afterwards because I thought it was like so cool.
Okay, I never liked Rex Reed. And I am not gay, but I was actually like, wow, Rex Reed's kind of hot in this.
Well, that's what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
That was the whole movie.
You did it.
Gore Vidal was trying to turn you gay. Can you give me that lighter?
Yeah.
That's one of those weird ones. It's difficult to find. I had to buy a DVD to get it.
Oh, well, I like that light. The light she has that keep building up towards you. Which she's actually going to finally show her pussy. She goes, well, it looks like the moment of truth has finally arrived. I think Raquel was just fantastic in that movie.
Did you ever see those debates that Gore Vidal did with William F. Buckley?
Oh, yeah. Well,
those
they almost
legendary
fights.
Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah.
But this is, you used to
Gore Vidal always won.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was right and he was better.
Yeah. He's right and he's better.
Yeah, he was
But
right.
then you have Gore Vidal fighting with fucking Norman Mailer.
Yeah.
What were they fighting about?
Oh no, just they get on they get him on like the Dick Cavett
Yeah,
show
Dick
together.
Cavett.
And he would talk to him like a Ponzi bastard, and the other one would talk to him like a Neanderthal.
I'm sure they had dinner afterwards.
Well, just you used to be able to have those kind of conversations on television, which is really fascinating.
Yeah.
It's like now they exist in podcasts. And like the Siskel and Ebert thing, what I was talking about is like you can't manufacture a friendship.
Yeah.
And you can't manufacture a real interest. You can't be a guy who was a local news reporter who auditioned for the role of the guy who reviews movies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
It's like this thing that you guys have is what this is the whole new media movement is based on authenticity, right? And this is like the whole thing you want people to not be able to find these movies. You want to just review movies that you want to review, and that's the beautiful thing about it. It's like the perfect show in that regard. Like for a film review show or a film discussion show, it's the perfect show.
And also, when a customer used to come into the store, they had basically 3 requirements. I want something that's new. That was always the first one. That's good, that I haven't seen yet. And I was like, well, if you haven't seen it yet, it's new to you. So that takes care of 2 of those. And no, we don't have that new one, but let's show you something interesting. And so it was always a matter of, Well,
the thing is, one of the things that and there's a lot of movie shows out there on podcasts, and they talk about stuff. And the idea isn't for me to just say, oh, we're better than all those guys. We're not coming from that place. But I'll tell you what bugs me about a lot of the other shows is the fact that the people are sincere. They're completely sincere, but their film knowledge is fucking abysmal. They really don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Like the 70s or something. Well, they were usually born in the 80s. So they don't know what something was like when it opened up, and they don't really have any context.
Right.
They definitely don't have context. That's what they don't have. They don't have context. They just know whatever they've learned along the way, and so they just yank stuff out of their ass and just and say stuff that's just wrong a lot. They just misinformation a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We actually fact check our shit. All right, we re-record it. All right, to make sure that we just don't yank shit out of it. And there is a little bit of yanking stuff out of your ass, but when I'm not sure about it, we look it up, and then if I'm wrong, then we change it.
Well, then also there's the fact that
you can count on what we're saying, that we're telling you the true fucking shit. We're giving you.
Right.
I consider it as a film expert that I would be. My show wouldn't be worth listening to if I don't tell you the truth.
Right.
If I don't give you factual information that you can count on.
well, also because you were there during the opening of the film, and we're
I
going
can describe
because
context.
we have the context to talk about. A lot of these people, they maybe didn't see these movies in theaters.
And the thing is, it's like, my writing guru as far as like film writing, but I think writing in general was the New Yorker film critic Pauline Kael, and she had one rule, for film criticism, and I think this apply to all writing. You have to give the reader a compelling reason to read your writing. It's that fucking simple. It's that there has to be a compelling reason for you to engage in reading analysis. And the same thing about talking about cinema. You have to give a compelling reason. Now, yeah, I like the guys. That's a good start. I like their personality. I think they're kind of funny. That's a good start. But there has to be something more than that.
Mm. Well, that's what's more than that. What you just did. This passion for it, right? That's what's more than that. It's this like severe commitment to it. That's what's exciting.
And then when we talk about the movies, we talk about everything that's good about them. We talk about the things that aren't good.
Right. Honest.
Yeah, very honest. Yeah. And I can be wrong. I don't have to be right about it.
You might be wrong about the Joker. I'm not sure.
Yeah. See,
It's audacious. It's audacious.
Because you haven't even seen it. You're just jumping on the fucking bandwagon.
I'm just talking shit.
I just try to wind you up. I'm just trying to wind you up. Sorry. What's like an example of a film that you love that other people hate, other than the Joker?
I don't know if I loved it, but okay, I liked it a lot. I have a ton of those. As a matter of fact, I have so many. But when I was younger, particularly, I was the champion of like the movie that all the critics put down and said was the fiasco.
Oh.
And I wanted to
Is it because you're contrarian?
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Was it Ishtar?
Well,
You
I
like
defended
Ishtar?
Ishtar. I defended 1940.
He was like one of the champions of Ishtar.
I championed 1941.
Pushing that tape on so many customers.
Yeah.
How many of them came back angry?
No, it's a funny movie. It's a funny movie.
Is it really?
Well, the problem with Ishtar, and we were talking about this a little bit earlier, the problem with Ishtar is that it suddenly became not about the movie, but about the production.
Yeah.
And so people had formed an opinion about whether they liked it or not because it was expensive. It's like it doesn't change your ticket price.
No, but that is the kiss of death. If you feel like a film is over budgeted,
especially comedies.
Yeah.
It's like critics have a thing about like spending a lot of money on comedies. It seems obscene to them.
Yeah.
What happened with this film? Like, where did the budget go south?
Well, where the budget kind of went south for the most part was the fact that like Warren Beatty and Dustin Hoffman kind of like they're full freight on the movie. So Dustin Hoffman got his big salary, Warren Beatty got his big salary, and so now
all the accoutrements that go with
and
it.
everything that goes with it.
Right.
I need a plane to fly me back from Morocco to New York every weekend.
I'm
sure.
No, he's just making that up. But he did during the time when they did Ishtar, Tom Hanks was famous, but he went down.
Right.
All right. So if that had starred Tom Hanks and Peter Scolari, like the two guys from Bosom Buddies.
Yeah.
Well, then that movie would have cost a lot less and would have been just as funny.
Right.
Those guys were terrific together, and they would have been really good in that role, and the film would have been seen for what it is.
Yeah.
When a film does get labeled as a bloated film, though, that is the kiss of death, because the general public will turn on it.
Sometimes in these
You know what? You generally
I'm like
give those
John
movies a
Lennon.
couple of years.
I'm just
Some
kind
people
of
have
another
these
level.
amazing
It's just
movies
like,
that,
wow.
like, oh my, well, Waterworld's a
Yo,
pretty fun
what
film.
up, baby? AFK.
I kind of have a great time.
You're amazing.
watching. Waterworld
I love
was the
you.
first Laserdisc I
Oh.
ever bought.
Hi.
That and Days of
here's one-
Thunder. I
Here's
bought them
what I
at the
bet
same
you
time.
can't defend. Kevin Costner.
I don't know if you're going to see this,
I never saw The Postman.
but if
I
you
like the
can,
idea of the Postman. I remember
man,
the
do
screenplay
I have
for
a
the Postman.
Discord for
The
you.
idea that,
I
like,
never saw The Postman, but I actually like Kevin
Hello?
Costner.
I love
actually
Kevin
think
Costner.
I think Dancing with Wolves is one of the best
Oh,
movies
yeah, but
made.
Kevin
in the last-
Costner's
in my
fucking
lifetime.
awesome. I love that dude.
Yeah.
But you're right about that.
But I've
It's
always
hard to
wanted to
defend.
see.
It's hard to defend.
I'm not saying he's right. I've
Thank you.
never seen it. But now that says something
No.
that I've never seen it. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing it. I'll bet y'all like it.
But then there's films that are so
Hello.
bad they're great. Like
go to
Showgirls.
rabbi.me/.
Showgirls.
I mean, discord.me/rabbi.
I can defend
Discord.me/rabbi.
I am not as so bad as
Oh,
you guys.
dude, you're
Okay,
you're
I'm not
real
so bad
dogs.
as you are so bad as you. I'm so bad
The
as you.
sex scene in the pool.
That's a little ridiculous, but yes, the sex scene in the pool is a little ridiculous. But actually, the fact that it's going for a Hollywood movie that's it's going there was actually interesting to me. But what I really like her in it.
If you want to see what it looks like, it looks like
guy.
this.
That's so fucking cool. When she beats the shit out of the guy at the end, and the guy who fucked over her
Not
girlfriend and like beat up his girlfriend, and then she
/rabbi.
does these spinning roundhouse kicks and beats the fucking shit out of the
When
guy.
you click on
Yeah,
it,
Elizabeth Berkley, go!
it takes you here.
What I love about Showgirls
Then
is
press join
normally a
server.
movie like Showgirls would be made for under
And
a
then you have-
million, go straight to video, star Robert Davi,
Then
and just be this little
take you
exploitation movie. And here was
my
an
Discord.
example of that being made for $60
River
million
Rough Trails
with
Clubhouse,
Paul
a place for
Verhoeven
world
directing,
Doing whatever the fuck he wants.
doing whatever he wants, making it as big as
And we're
possible.
releasing
It's
it
the place to
NC-17. Fuck
It's
you
basically
all.
the same
Wow,
as one of those
I'm glad to know
sub-million
that
dollar
you're
exploitation
out there.
films. It still has
Hope you
Robert
live in, like,
Davi in
a
it. He's still playing
I'm
the
gonna
same
sing some
part he would
karaoke
normally
soon.
play. And so it's this opportunity to see one of those weird little,
But come on in,
exploitation
we're
movies
watching
made
Joe
in this
Rogan and
grand
Quentin Tarantino and this.
fashion, this huge
Yeah,
fashion.
yeah.
It's
Showgirls
exciting.
doesn't sit on a special
Sounds
shelf
nice,
in my
big.
heart. All right. But I really
He's
liked it
doing
when I saw it. I
something
saw it in
nice.
theaters.
I
I
love
enjoyed
it when Elizabeth
it.
Berkley like pushes Gina Gershon down the stairs. Is it Gina Gershon? She pushes down the stairs.
Yeah.
Like everything about that movie is awesome. I think it's great. I love the film. I love the film. I brought it up to all the. I had a dinner once with Verhoeven
How
and
did
a
you
bunch of
find
the
out about
producers.
me?
Of the film. I started going off on it. They all sat there at the dinner watching me go crazy over their
How
film,
did you
and then at
find
the end
me?
of it, one of the producers said, "Well, yeah, that's all
With
nice
two
to hear,
people
but
watching
really
us
that
at
movie
once?
was just about us doing a
No,
lot of
it's fine.
cocaine."
That's
That's
exactly
exactly what I was just
We
gonna
had
say.
two fucking
I'm
heroes.
so glad you just said that because
Great
I always described that movie as a cocaine movie, and I was
The
just
Discord
casting
server you have a cam on.
It was
Amazing. Dog,
It
join my
seems like
Discord.
a
everywhere,
cocaine
apparently.
movie.
Yeah,
Because it seems like they thought it was great while they're doing it, but it's like, what are you doing? You know, it's one of those things where you think it's great because you're on coke.
I have a place in my heart for
send me
those
a-
big movies like that.
Send me
Like I said,
a
that's not the one that I would. That's not the one I would make my case on. But I still would like it. That's not my case. That's not my. That's not my test.
Are you-
Well, isn't that sort of
Hold
an
on.
example of what happened when
Hold on.
the
Did
80s
you
were
just send me a message?
cocaine
Are you the
culture?
wizard?
The
Wizard
world kind
of
of
Oz?
shifted from a psychedelic
Are
thing
you the
from
Wizard
the
of
60s
Oz?
and 70s to a cocaine thing in the 80s, and you get movies like that.
Yeah, you get a little bit more edgy, a little less trippy.
Well, I'm just going to take a
Also,
guess.
like,
when you
that's
said
what it
more
is.
ridiculous.
But
But
see,
wait,
look at how
see,
great.
the beginning, it's pretty good.
You are
That's
the
what I call
Wizard of
an
Oz.
actress dedicated
Dog,
to her role.
I
Yeah.
just sent you
That's where you're losing
a
me. That's where you're losing
message.
me. Because how are you
So you
keeping
got
all
my
that?
Discord,
and
but
it's
then check
kind
out
of awkward.
my YouTube to see all my different
It's
accounts.
just watching
Whoa,
Elizabeth
it's
Berkley's
crazy.
tits, all right, in a big studio movie like this, flopping up and down.
Well-
like I'm getting my money's worth.
Well, that was huge because it was from Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, but
Wizard of
okay,
Oz
I'm
is
not-
amazing.
actually, I'm not thinking about it from his point of view. I'm thinking
You
about it
are
from
the
the water
Wizard of
hitting
Oz.
her
Well, that's
face.
fantastic.
I'm looking from her point of view. That's the unrealistic part.
That true. Cocaine movies are fun though. There's quite a few of those that were just like, what is
Well, if
this?
you want to come in and chill and talk to me,
Like, how much coke was going around in the 80s?
feel free.
lot.
If not,
A
we're
lot.
watching Joe
When
Rogan.
it was actually coke
Well,
too.
It was actually real cocaine. It was like proper
Well,
cocaine.
no, but there, I mean, no,
proper.
but there was, there was
Wizard
this.
of
I
Oz
mean,
is here,
it's actually
friends.
really interesting because it's like
Shout
one
out
of
to
those
the
things
Wizard
where,
of Oz.
Remember
Let's
that
see
customer
here.
who used to come in and he would
Oh,
bring
you
in
found me
like
from
a
E-Girl
rock of
World.
cocaine,
oh yeah.
drop it on the counter, like a rock of
Do
cocaine.
you know e-girls
And
are
boys, yeah,
The guy was in
girls or
Tuttle.
girls
the
who
size
like
of Tuttle,
electronics?
the size of a coffee mug, and he would bring us these things.
He was a cocaine dealer,
I don't
and the thing is, he would rent.
I don't think
We'd let
everybody
him
knows.
take the movies out and come back whenever he wanted.
I sing
Whatever you want.
karaoke.
And he would
Might
come
do
in
some-
and he'd get
Might
his
do something pretty
films,
soon.
and then he would like either open
have
up a
any
little
karaoke
like
requests, let me
skull
If you have any
can,
Joe,
skull can.
Yeah,
George
All right,
likes
let's go.
I
karaoke.
remember that skull
For the
can.
Beatles.
All right,
There you
on
go,
the- on the
boys.
counter. There you go, boys. Have a
Have fun.
Any Rolling
Jesus
Or you
Stones
take out a
Christ.
Coke rock,
I could basically do them from the
bam,
memory.
like throw it on the counter to bounce
Like-
off of you. There you
But I
go,
can
boys.
do it.
See you later. See you in 2 weeks.
Like a baseball, like a baseball, and you take a
There you
colander and just
Well, I'm
grind
gonna
it up.
just type
Okay,
you
who wants
in
some?
here.
Pure
And for
coke.
the first time, because we're minimum wage kids, for the first time, we actually had fuck you Coke. All right? We actually had access to Coke in a way that we could never afford. Like for about a few months, because those relationships don't last that
No,
long.
no, no. Cocaine
I
relationships.
respect the grant or 4
But for a
laptops.
few months,
Oh, I
we're
should have
holy
more than
shit,
that.
We're in the fucking, we're in the
If
powder.
it's only 4, something's wrong.
There was a party once that he came to, and he brought a rock of
Let's see
cocaine
here.
and a live hand grenade.
1, 2,
We put 'em
3,
both down.
4, 5,
They usually
6.
go together.
7,
and it was
8.
like, okay, it's a dangerous
Type
combination.
of person does a lot of coke. Usually,
Excess as Tuttle.
Thank you for respecting the grind. Shout out to the
We're
Wizard of
gonna
Oz.
get
The
into a
Wizard
Tuttle
of Oz.
situation.
Dude, I'm so tough.
oh, that's hilarious. It became like your Fugazi.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so funny. When I worked at in Boston, at Nick's Comedy Stop, they would offer to pay you in cocaine or cash. There was guys who just took the cocaine. There's certain comics they just wanted to get paid in coke. Yeah, wild times. You know, that's the '80s.
It was
Yeah.
the 80s. It was
Yeah.
the 80s.
Well, yeah, that was actually even kind of an interesting situation because, like,
There he is.
it was also one of those things we all kind of went nutty for
How
like
you
a little
living,
bit
Darius?
Mhm.
with this kind of like more access to coke than we normally would have.
Just getting
More
your
access,
neck a little.
more access to coke than we ever had.
Ever have. Yeah. And like, because we can't afford that shit. All right. And so we all kind of went nuts for like a little bit about it. And then we all kind of like, okay,
What
let's
up, Darius? How you
Yeah,
living,
enough of
fam?
that.
Yeah,
let's bring it together.
so that's great.
Let's bring
You
it
figured
together.
that out.
I hope
And
things are
we
good for
also
you.
saw some other people who
I hope
were
everything
like,
in your life is
let it
amazing.
let it get the best
We're
of
just
it.
watching.
And they got really
what's up,
kind
man?
of
Like
How are
your
you?
friend with the story about
Can you hear me, big dog?
Who?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
How are you?
Doing a bit. I was doing a bit for my chair.
Oh boy, how'd you break your chair, my man?
Oh no, it's fine. Oh yeah. Yeah, my wheel on it just broke off completely.
All right, sounds like you have a little do-it-yourself project to work on. Do you have something to fix it?
Yeah.
All right,
I got
DIY.
tape and superglue.
Oh, dude, you're amazing. That's probably what I would use too. There is a saying that
That's all you need.
exactly if it's supposed to move and it doesn't, you need WD-40. If it does move and it's not supposed to, you need duct tape. That's basically all the DIY information you need. If I may ask,
Alright, well I'm gonna cry about my chair master bed.
hey, it happens to the best of us. Take care, man. Enjoy. Come back whenever you want. You're always welcome.
Thank you.
Peace, man. I'm going to send you a friend request. Just one moment. All right. You do you, baby. I already have.
of being bitter. It's the same sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
The same sort of thing. You go, oh, I know where this is going.
And so we all like, okay, let's pull back. Let's get control of this, and we all did. It was all collectively. We all kind of just got our shit together and put it in the rearview mirror.
Right, right.
Didn't mean we didn't do it, but we controlled it.
Contrary to your goals.
We'll stay with Pop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
When I was growing up, a bunch of people that I knew got hooked on coke, and that's what kept me from ever doing coke.
I had children, and suddenly it was like, oh my God, like I have to be on call 24/7.
Right, you can't be out like coked up.
Like that's not gonna last anymore.
That gets in the way of
that gets in the way.
mushroom trips.
And pretty soon, my Saturday mornings became more important than my Friday nights.
Mhm.
It's pretty simple.
But
Yeah.
my thing about coke
Priorities change.
was I wanted to have excess, so I wasn't that interested in it.
Yeah, you want to take it to
Right,
12.
right.
No, I wanted to have a big pile of it, and we're doing it all fucking night until
So this is gone.
until the straw is bloody.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm
Yeah.
stopping now because the straw got bloody.
I think it's like some people don't have the ability to only do that once. Like for whatever reason, some people they have that thing and they do coke a little bit, then they just want to keep doing coke.
Yeah. Well, that's scary. when that
It is
happens.
scary
That's scary when that happens.
because you're captured by a demon.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's literally, and I think it's literally a demon.
Yeah. No, I think
In the classic djinn sense of the
Sure.
word, where it's whispering into your ear.
well, in a sense, it does all the things a demon would do.
Mhm.
You know, you could say the demons aren't real. Okay, but
Well, I think they
they might be real.
Look,
They've
I
been
think there's pretty
around
good
for-
evidence. I think there's pretty good evidence.
There's a lot of
we live
like
amongst.
legitimate evil in the world.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think
and
we're-
where is that coming from? What's that energy? Like what begets that? What is the reason why people are willing to mass murder? Like what is it? What is it? People are willing to launch missiles into cities. What is that? Where's that coming from? There's got to like that would be evil if you defined it in the classic sense of the word. You know, when a invading army comes into a village and hacks people, that's not demonic. That's not evil. You're lighting children on fire and throwing them on thatched roofs. That's not demonic. Seems pretty demonic. Like a demon would do that. Whether the physical demon exists is almost like not even important.
Yeah.
It's like demonic behavior is 100% documented.
What would Jesus do?
Yeah, right.
Just ask yourself that.
But it's the thing.
It's
It's like
unlikely.
everybody wants
It's
to be
unlikely
smart.
he's going to raise a fist.
Everybody wants to be smart, and you want to be secular, and you never want to say that you believe in something that's superstitious or ridiculous. So you don't believe in religion. You're either agnostic or you're atheist. That's how you get respect. And it's like, what are the actions of good and the actions of evil? The actions are real, right? And we all know in our heart and our soul when you do a good thing how you feel versus when you do a bad thing how you feel. Like, so what are those
there's a whole
forces?
speech in Apocalypse Now when Brando's Kurtz tells the story of going into the village and inoculating
Mhm.
all of the children in the village, shooting their arms with flu shots or something like that, inoculating them. And then the soldiers came in and then hacked off all the kids' arms. And then there's like a little pile of arms, a little pile of all the little arms in there where they hacked them off. And I cried like a baby. Then the genius of that. Because these are not monsters. They're not demons. These are men doing a job. And they had the force of will to take the job and take it to its logical conclusion of what they had to do. All right, I'm not
Condone.
condoning what Kurtz is saying. Kurtz is a fucking crazy person.
Right.
All right, but I'm interested in his perspective. But of course, that would be Kurtz's
He's
perspective.
speaking about
Yeah.
true power.
Where he's a god. He's a god, worshipped by these
Lost-
natives. Yeah.
Clearly lost his fucking mind
Yeah.
in the fog of war.
He's completely
Yeah.
lost his mind in the fog of war.
And
But he's talking like Genghis Khan.
yes, exactly, like they all talk.
Yeah.
But this is the thing where you're suspicious of power. right? Like, why are you suspicious? Well, you should be, because you see where it ultimately leads. It ultimately leads to a curse, or it ultimately leads to the way to really be in control of people. Like, you have to use violence. You can only use words so long.
Strong men hold civilizations together. That's just a fact of things. Both of us have become friends over the years with John Milius,
Yeah.
who
Who
wrote
wrote Apocalypse?
who wrote Apocalypse Now. And, John is the kind of guy who's like, conquerors, and he wrote a script about Genghis Khan. And
Thank you.
yeah, that I with him to help turn it into a series. My daughter and I helped him after he had a stroke. And, you look at his Genghis Khan script, and he's realistically talking about these horrific atrocities that just, sewing people up in felt and lighting it on fire and throwing them in the river. Just however you can kill somebody, he figured out a way to do it better. And but at the same time, he invented paper money, and he invented the Silk Road, and he
trade these.
pulled that whole region of the world together under one empire. And over the course of it, you start out as almost like Conan the warrior, Conan the conqueror, Conan the king. Eventually,
King
you're
by his own hand.
a king by your own hand, and eventually you start realizing.
And John Milius also wrote and directed Conan the Barbarian.
And so he rightly recognizes that it's strong men who conquer, but also who hold together and maintain order. And there's a balance to be had between force and strength, and and compassion as well. Too much compassion, countries fall apart.
Yeah.
Too much introspection, countries fall apart.
Right. And when things are too good,
When things are too good,
things are too easy, and you think they're supposed to be easy, you don't understand how they became easy and what keeps them easy. Yeah. And that's kind of where we are right now.
it's weird times right now.
As though we are. We're in a Conan movie.
Well, it does feel a little like we're in kind of neo-feudalistic times where there's highwaymen and
What's up, Pam?
that you have to contend with when you go out, and everything's a little more fragile. And
Well, there's also this new thing,
No, but I'm not against
which
it.
is the internet and social media. And there's this new thing that has overcome our minds. And it's affecting everyone in this very bizarre way. And
I'm
it's
very
making
pro
people more
gaming.
tribal
I just don't
and
game.
more inclined
I game
towards echo
some, but
chambers.
It generally
more
has to be pretty
antagonistic
cheap and
against
playable on
opposing beliefs and
a
views.
pretty slow
So what you
computer
were saying
or
about
phone.
like being able to sit and have a conversation with someone and completely disagree, but not take it personally.
Yeah.
Just
I
disagree about the points.
sacrifice
We've lost
one
that.
good computer
in our
for
society.
14 other
important
devices.
to be able to engage with other
Yes.
people, to disagree with them,
Yes.
and then to know that that's just that. We can still have dinner together. We can still be friends.
I haven't told that spot.
So I go on a show and I said that I like
Do you go outside much?
Yeah.
Joker
Every day,
too. Well,
try.
I say I like
I was
Joker
outside.
too.
I was outside earlier today.
Now there's 150 articles that come out on all these cannibalized articles. and
Sometimes
one person
I have
listens
picnics
to
in
the
the
thing,
park.
and writes an
I've had
article
people
about
who
it, and
visit
there's
me,
150 rip-off
fans,
articles
and
on
like
that.
we'll go have a
And
picnic
then
in
you
the
read the
park or
comments.
something.
Man, who's a
Live
fucking
stream
asshole?
it.
That movie's fucking so. He's a fucking asshole for saying that. Why am I a fucking asshole?
That doesn't make any sense.
100%, man.
Yeah.
All right, that makes me a fucking
I wouldn't be
asshole.
doing it.
Crazy.
You either like the movie or you don't. All right, and
My friend, data is Earth's #1 resource. It's like gold.
Well, I understand that, but what do you mean by that? I mean, the only data you're getting is like just your own data and giving it out.
It's a time capsule for society. People will be able to essentially see what every single day was like from now until whenever I want to end it, which I never want to end it. I want to keep it going forever. And it's essentially like a new Bible. I mean, there are stories in this. There's entertainment. There's really knowledge that really isn't being discussed today. Like things like anti-gravity, antimatter, de-extinction, life extension technology, mind uploading technology, all that good stuff. No one's talking about that.
Yeah, but all that stuff is already documented.
No, it's
People
not.
who are actually like researching that field.
It's not. It's not very well documented. A lot of this is hypothetical technology.
What do you mean hypothetical technology?
Things like female sperm and male eggs. That's hypothetical. It's not a realistic technology currently. But in the future, women may be able to produce their own sperm, and men may be able to produce their own eggs. And when that happens, you might be able to self-replicate. No one's talking about that.
I mean, some people are. It's just not a really big topic. You know?
Name one person right now who's talking about female sperm and male eggs. Oh, wait. Of all of the creators you know, hold on. Of all the creators you know, of all of them, all the celebrities you know, all the podcasts, all the movies, all the books, all of the songs, none of them are talking about that. That's just one example.
Well, yeah, of course, we're not going to have a voice critical talking about. Well, he probably has talked about it, to be fair, in one of his live streams. But we don't hear him, like, just talking about it. You know?
And
It's such a niche topic.
it's not. It could eventually become quite common amongst all people that you no longer reproduce with someone of the opposite sex. You self-reproduce, or
It's not all that. All that stuff isn't. All that stuff is just being researched right now.
not many people are researching female sperm. Of all of the doctors and all of the nurses and all of the scientists, less than 1% of 1% might even think it's a reality that it could happen, let alone people who are actually paid to study those things. It's really not. It's not very common at all.
I mean, relatively not common. I've heard of it. I've heard of it before. That means I know someone's talking about it.
Who do you know who's talked about it, aside from me?
I can't think specific names, but it's probably been in the news before. It's just not really a hot topic.
I've never heard of it in the news. I can tell you that it has a Wikipedia page that isn't very thorough, but it does just talk about it as a hypothetical technology. I mean, that's just one of many different things that we talk about. Let's talk about mega projects. What about, now this one is talked about, but not very much in the mainstream. A Bering Strait
What's
tunnel.
a mega project?
A mega project is generally considered a project that goes above what are general terms for projects into needing international cooperation in order to be completed. So arguably, like the digging of the English Channel over 100 years ago, or the Panama Canal, those
Yeah, I
would,
know what you mean.
so like super projects, really, really big ones. Another one would be perhaps the Suez Canal, certainly would be. And then maybe thousands of years ago, you would consider the pyramids to be a mega project. But what I'm talking about is a Bering Strait tunnel. I talk about a lot of things when it comes to mega projects. So basically, I'm a huge advocate for building a tunnel. It's only 51 miles that needs to be dug between Asia and North America. And then you could take a car from Los Angeles to London or New York to Cape Town. You could drive. That's a really exciting opportunity. That will unite the world much better than many of the things that currently make up the news cycle that divide us.
Man, you actually research into this stuff?
Oh, I talk, not only that, but I talk on it at length. I mean, I don't want to say I'm an expert in the Bering Strait tunnel, but I know more than the top 1% of people on it.
You invest in this.
Do I invest in stock?
Yeah, you invest in this stuff.
I have, yeah. So, like the first stock, perhaps, I mean, like one of the first stocks that I ever.
Well, just a general question. Not really focusing on any specific stock, just generally. Like,
Yeah.
You do stocks?
Yeah, but I'm more about returns, and you don't get as good at returns on stock as you do on cryptocurrency. So basically, like you can.
So you also do crypto.
I'm sponsored by a cryptocurrency. Absolutely, it's right here. It's worth $300 million. It's called Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu. If you're like, oh, is that why you're wearing like Sonic the Hedgehog pajamas? Yeah, but it's a very serious cryptocurrency, and it's worth $300 million. These pillows that you see that are like cartoon characters, when I started, well, they're NFTs. When I started, they were worth like nothing. Like months ago, they were worth $800. They're worth $8,000 now.
Do you want to donate some of that money to a little Mexican?
No, but I can tell you that when I go viral, that I'll be able to give you more money than you can ever count. That you'll be able to have so much money that you'll be able to help all your friends and family and start your own charities. I have more data than any person. Essentially, I'm sitting on a gold mine. And just little by little, people start to find out about me from any different. Go ahead.
What do you mean you're sitting on data? What do you mean by that?
Data, according to The Economist magazine, data, specifically human data, is its number one resource, more valuable than food, water, gold, air, petroleum, platinum, diamonds, and I have more human data archived on the internet than any person ever.
I mean, okay, I understand that, but what's the use of that data? What's the use of your data? What's the use of it?
Well, essentially, we can follow somebody's life back, every single moment of their life back, more than 3.5 years. Imagine in 20 or 30 or 40 years when we have that much data that we can just essentially delve into someone's life. Now, that's just from a two-dimensional perspective. Hey, I want a cool story. Let's follow the rabbi. There are many other aspects of this that are much more important as well. And as technology advances, things like being able to know a lot about my body, what my breaths per minute are, knowing what my blinks per minute are, knowing what my heartbeat per minute is, knowing what the humidity is, knowing what the temperature is. All of these things will be seen, and you'll be able to essentially track with augmented reality. Additionally, it will be studied from an academic perspective, more data than any other person. And we can study that. We can perhaps in the future remove different layers of my skin. You could be able to see my you'll be able to see my epidermis, my skin layers. You'll be able to see my muscular structure, and then eventually you'll be able to remove aspects of my cranial cavity and see what my brain looks like, and then eventually actually see what I'm thinking.
So another question. All this, it's worth the investment. It's worth your investment.
100%.
All of this,
100%.
just for a chance. Just for a chance for someone to dissect your life like 1,000 years in the future, or even then, storage and like hard drive storage, additional storage overall is going to decay. It's going to be forgotten. You know how much of YouTube has been deleted?
Oh yeah, I know.
Already?
A lot of mine has been deleted. That doesn't mean that I just can't win.
It's like 60% of YouTube is just gone.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean I can't win an appeal with them when I'm a famous person and just say, hey, give me these accounts back, and they will, because that's a newsworthy event. When things are a newsworthy event, they drop all of their policies because the newsworthiness of it makes it more important than anything. So all they have to do is say, hey, we have somebody who's been live streaming your life. Did you ever see the movie The Truman Show?
No, I've never seen it.
Okay, so it stars Jim Carrey, and it's basically a very similar story, except we have my consent in this story, and in that movie, they did not have his consent. But essentially, the entire world becomes fascinated with one single individual whose life is always on camera. And people start to want to dress like that person, want to have the same interests as that person, and they want to really mimic them in every way possible, or mirror them in any way possible. That's fine for me. All I care about is no more war. Somebody's got to start the discussion of world peace. All right, you do you.
I'm not plugging the movie. I'm not saying I'm not doing anything. All right. I'm just saying I like it. Who gives a fuck what I like?
Right.
What do you care what the fuck I like?
Right. And also,
But then I'll say I didn't see something. Well, he's a fucking asshole. All right. I didn't see it. I don't care what the fuck I see and what I don't see. What the fuck do you fucking care?
But there's no one in front of him to say that. He's an idiot alone with his phone. If he just said it out loud amongst reasonable people, they would turn to him and go, what the fuck are you talking about? But he doesn't get that check,
well, also,
which is also part of the problem with social media.
one of the
But someone will say something like, "Well, I think he's fucking missing out." Well, I'm sure there's a lot of shit I can say that you're missing out on, and I don't care if you miss out.
Also, you have to be missing out. Otherwise, you don't have a life.
Yeah.
How much information do you think you can absorb in a day? How much things do you watch and listen to? You have to miss
four
out.
movies a day, apparently.
Yeah, that's a lot of time, man. You have to miss out. There's going to be shit you miss out on. Well, the other thing is, like, if you're a film fan today, you're not just dealing with today's films.
Yeah.
You're dealing with this insane archive
That
that goes back to Rocky.
Yeah.
You know, goes back to
Nope.
On
Goes
the
back to-
waterfront.
Goes back to the 20s.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
There's so many films to watch.
Man.
I
Answer
don't know,
your
like,
question,
a
no.
film that I saw that was like very meaningful to me this year
You're good.
is I really like the story of Beau Geste, the French Foreign Legion story. I like French Foreign Legion movies anyway, but that's a really cool story, and I really like the whole story of the three brothers in there.
Just
And,
chill, man. We're
yeah,
watching
I'm
the
I was
podcast.
familiar with the Gary Cooper version, the 1939 version, Put It on the Stand, but I'd never seen the silent version. And it starred Ronald Colman. And I
Well,
watched
like
the silent
live
version
24/7,
recently, and I was
like 8 months.
blown away by it. The storytelling was so epic,
Oh,
and was
like I
so
think my first
visually
account was
just
made like 3 years ago.
And we have a little micro cinema in the theater I have, one of the theaters I have in Los Angeles, the Vista, and it's like a little
Yeah, I mean,
20
I
seat
really
cinema
didn't
that we
use
just
social
show
media until I
VHS
started
and
this.
16 millimeter.
Not a lot.
Video archives.
Yeah, it's like Video Archive, the Video Archive Cinema Club, and it's like literally, it's like the brick and mortar version of Video Archive. It's just like a little Paris.
Yeah, no, I mean, I worked a
Back
corporate
out,
job,
back
so
It's like a
I
little
wasn't
clubhouse.
into
I mean, it's
social
open to
media
everybody,
then.
but for our core fans.
And the thing is, and we
38.
showed last week we showed the silent version of Beau Geste in it, and
38?
and I wasn't there at that screening, but I asked the guy who was our manager there, Matt. I said, how
Yeah,
did it go?
that's an age.
Quinn, you would have really loved to have been there for that screening. And I go, well, what? And he goes,
You're like a dinosaur.
it was so
Well, thank
moving.
you.
The end of it, and it is really moving.
No offense, dude.
And it's just like nobody was talking. It was silent.
Emotional.
You could hear a pin drop, and then it was over, and everyone was still kind of in this collective emotional state, and they just all kind of left the theater. And they just seen something emotional, and they all kind of just moved out.
I'm a
into the
certified
lobby
project
and-
management
and this
professional.
emotional
So
state. And it's
I launched apps on the App Store and Google Play.
Amazing.
I
And
mean, I think one of the most
Additionally-
magical things about movies is that it can speak
you wanna
to
tell me
at
what I
different
did?
times of your life. You know, at the
do you want to
different
tell me what
window
I did?
of opportunity in your life. So you might see a movie and not like it, and then people might see Joker 2 today and not really care for it. And then 5 years from now,
Why are you changing the answer to the question that I'm giving you? How about you just shut the fuck up and let me answer the question? You asked me like 50 fucking questions. I'm answering them, but before I can even tell you what I've done, what my profession is, what my career is, you're all
I've heard your profession. I've heard your profession.
okay. So then why did you ask me? It's been what it's always been, as I have been a professional. It's on the App Store and Google Play. I've worked for Fortune 500 companies. If someone has a project and they need assistance with completing it, I'm your man. Hope that answers your question, big dog.
revisit it.
Apologies, I'm having trouble hearing you. Can you repeat that? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. In my youth, I went to graduate school. I graduated from college. I graduated from high school. But dog, yeah, I mean, that's what people do. I don't think you understand what it is to be an adult. You DoorDash, you smoke weed, and you basically live a simple life. I get that. Those of us who shot for the stars, had careers, had the ability to change careers if they needed, had different types of careers, big goals. I'm not saying you can't do that, but like you're basically interrupting my life to be like, hey, what have you done with your life? It's like, dog, what's with all the questions about me? Look at yourself. You could be doing exactly what I'm doing. I make money right now as a streamer. Not a lot, but enough. You could do this. Why don't you stream your life? There you go. I understand. And that's a legitimate statement. I respect that. A lot of people do. I'll tell you, before I started this, I liked privacy as well. But I recognize the power of data, and essentially, while it is a gamble, it may be the most valuable gamble I've ever had. I mean, I would literally be doing the exact same thing in my normal life. I would be watching a podcast, just chilling in my bed, surfing the internet. And that's exactly what I do, but I just live stream it. I recognize that. And your curiosity is not a bad thing at all. It's frustrating when you're like, hey, what do you do for a living? And I'm telling you, and then you're already interrupting me for the next thing. It's like, you don't even care about what my answers are. You're just literally seeing how many questions you can ask me in a minute or so. I know, but then you ask me again, what's your career? And I told you, and then you interrupted me. Okay, that's a different question. I mean, I got an education. And essentially went to the corporate world. That's what you do. And I moved up the corporate ladder. I got promotions, and then I got certifications. I continued my education through continuing education programs, and really developed as much of a knowledge base as possible. And you can do it too. You don't necessarily need a college degree to be able to make six figures. Okay. Hey, that's very respectful, and I understand that. I shouldn't say respectful. Pardon me. Respectable. And I think that that's a very good thing. Hey, if you don't want to get into the hustle and bustle of the corporate world, I get it. But if you want to make money, and you want to make a lot of money, I know you don't, but literally doing nothing, cryptocurrency is a perfect place to do it. I mean, well, here's the thing. Like, let's say, okay, you do DoorDash, which is cool. Hey, there he is. Welcome, Ass Muncher. How you living, pimp? So, hey, this is a person who's in cryptocurrency. Ask Muncher, what are some good?
I'm in crypto.
You're in tons of crypto, dog. You have your own.
Yo, ask Muncher, what would make me $1 trillion in this day? There's a project called Bitcoin Persuasion. You can send me a link for it. Sure. Shit. There's no fucking Middle East war going. No, one day, not today, but eventually there will be. It's one of those things where you gotta give it time, for sure.
And Ask Munch is right about that. But look, if you just start doing Uber or Uber Eats or DoorDash or something like that, if you were to say, look, I'm just going to take one tip, like whatever, somebody tips you $5, one tip per time that you do Uber Eats and put it in cryptocurrency, within a year, you'll have perhaps thousands of dollars.
Oh, yeah. He's not wrong.
Like, I'm not even talking.
So, okay. So who's more intelligent?
Ask Muncher.
Robert.
No, Ask Muncher. Ask. No. I'll tell you. Ask Muncher. Ask Muncher.
Bitcoin for that shit. It's just like USD. I feel like at the end of the day, it's just USD.
But it's not. That's okay. It shows that you don't.
What are you saying? Like, Bitcoin is always just going to be USD. People get Bitcoin cash.
No. So at times you've been able to buy Teslas with Bitcoin. You can use it to buy things online without ever transferring it into USD. And you have to understand. Let's talk.
Yeah, but that's like.
Let's talk about USD for a second. Okay, so we're talking about the United States dollar, Federal Reserve notes, the things that people have in their wallet. That has lost 99% of its purchasing power since it was brought into effect December 23rd, 1913. 99%. So what does that mean? That today's $100 bill in 1913 was just a dollar bill. Okay, that's known as inflation. Basically, practices that weaken an economy, that weaken a currency. With cryptocurrency, it is essentially an insurance against inflation. Let's say currently inflation every year is about 2%. In bad years, it's 6%. That means that in 2023, if you had $1, today that dollar is worth 98 cents. And it could be as low as 94 cents or so. That means next year, it's going to be 96 cents. And the year after that, it's 94 cents. Now you look at basically any cryptocurrency that has some larger holders and isn't just a small shit coin or meme coin or something. Given time, these things have not just 1x, meaning essentially increasing, but 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x. Then you get into 10x, 20x, 50x, 100x, 1,000x. And what am I saying? I'm saying 1,000 times whatever your initial investment was, you can make on this. So what am I saying? Let's just say we take $5 every time that you make a delivery. Not just every time you make a delivery. I'm not saying that. Every time you have a session that you go, let's just say on Uber Eats or something like that, you take $5 of that and you say, I'm going to just buy a cryptocurrency, whatever one I want. It could be a very popular one or it could be a new one. That $5 in a year has the opportunity to be $50,000 pretty easily. And you may make 50 different investments like this and they all don't pay off for you, but 50 times $5 is only $250 that you would have invested when the opportunity for it to essentially candle, as we call it in the community, but for it to have long-term economic and fiscal success is a really is a reality. Meaning, if you take that dollar, the United States dollar, and you just say, I'm going to put it in my bank account, it's going to lose 2% this year. It'll lose 2% next year. It'll lose 2%. With cryptocurrencies, there is a chance that you can lose them, but there's also the opportunity that they can explode. It's like it's similar to the lottery. I mean, it's a risk like anything, but very rarely do you have the opportunity to have like 1,000x opportunity on something. So, for instance, if you have like it's like a stock. Let's say you like Xbox, so Microsoft. Let's say Microsoft stock is $100 per share. So the chances are that it turns into $200 within a year are very low. It's not necessarily going to double. But the chances of a cryptocurrency doing the same are much higher. Let me give you an example. This coin, Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu, when I started with it, it was worth less than $1. Now, it's worth $300 million. This coin has made millionaires out of just random people working a job who just were in early. And if you really want to know how to do it, if you really want to know this.
So what is in your opinion, I should just go gamble my money and actually hitting dopamine?
I mean, there's that.
Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, any kind of investment is a risk, so you could consider it a gamble. What I'm telling you, though, is that if you really want to make a lot of money and put in very little effort, all you have to do is listen to Twitter Spaces. On Twitter, every single day. Do you know what Twitter Spaces are?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're familiar with Twitter. Do you know what Twitter Spaces are?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like an audio format. All you have to do is go into those and listen to people who have good plans for their cryptocurrency and then invest in them. Will all of them pay out for you? No. But there are very few things in the modern age that give you 100x. Like you could go and bet on a sporting team and you're only going to make 2x if you win on your money. Maybe if you parlay it or do something crazy, you might get 4x or 8x. But there's a very good chance that you're going to lose that money. In cryptocurrency, it's basically not a huge risk. You take $5 or $10 and you get 1,000,000 coins. I mean, like for $5, you can buy 1,000,000 coins. And if that coin gets to be worth $1, then you've got $1,000,000. And you bought it with $5.
That's crazy.
It is, and
I would say
it seems like it should be illegal.
how much?
It seems like it should be illegal.
Like most of the things, isn't it illegal?
No, that's exactly how it works.
Like, I mean, yeah, but it's just regular. It's just you early to the party, or you just got early. But I mean, yeah, I guess $5 is fine.
Exactly. You can't buy stock with $5. You can't even pay the fees on stock with $5. But you can buy 1,000,000 of a certain coin with $5. The barrier to entry is very, very low. So, like, I'm serious. Sometimes people are going to give you a $5 tip. If you just say, every time I do a delivery, I'm going to buy cryptocurrency, it will grow on you. I can tell you that I don't buy cryptocurrency. I mean, I've bought Bitcoin in the past. I've owned a Bitcoin. But at least as I've done this project, people just want to give to me. They donate to me. And they donate cryptocurrency to me. And that cryptocurrency goes from being worth dollars to hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars. And I don't have to do anything. It just sits there and grows. So at least from that perspective, my advice to you, if you would be, you keep doing whatever makes you happy. You keep doing whatever makes you happy,
That's
but just take $5 every time you choose to work and invest it in a cryptocurrency, whatever cryptocurrency you want. And if you're like, look, I don't know what cryptocurrency to buy, I would tell you get on Twitter Spaces and just listen to some people and their projects. There will be people who just give you their cryptocurrency as well. They just want more holders for the cryptocurrency. So they'll just be like, hey, we're doing what's called an airdrop. And all you have to do is link your wallet and you'll get free tokens. Now, if you're like, well, why isn't everybody doing this? Well, the thing is, a lot of people are, especially in the last 3 years. And you just don't really recognize it, or maybe not you, but people don't recognize it. But the other big issue is you have to be very careful. The links that you press, because people can drain your wallet, and you don't want that to happen.
so. Have you ever been on like the good side of the road?
Well, no. An investor, basically, I just hold the whole time, and that's the best kind of investor anybody wants. So I've never pulled out my money. The most I've ever done, I'm in a cryptocurrency, and in order to join the fantasy football league of the cryptocurrency, you had to pay like $50 in the cryptocurrency to join the fantasy football, and I've done that. But I've never spent money on cryptocurrency in other ways. I just hold it. It's basically like a retirement fund for me that just keeps growing.
So how would you mind like saying how much you've made so far?
I've seen like a 30x on the donations that people have given to me. So let's say somebody has given me $1 without me having to do anything. I mean, literally, I just sit here and people recognize the value of cryptocurrency and the value of me being a holder. I mean, even though like I mean just the coin that I talk about all the time with their merchandise, that has seen like a 50x over the course of its lifespan, and it's only like a year and a half old. So basically, you can think that if I had $1,000 invested, it's now worth $30,000. If I had $100,000 invested, it's now worth $3 million. But I've basically seen a 30x return, and because I don't sell it, it just keeps growing for me. And that's not even how I make money. But in addition to that, I get paid to stream from different platforms. So I literally, me just being here talking to you, I make money off of this. Rumble. And I mean, that's what everybody wants. They want to be able to just sit, hang out with their friends, play games, and get paid for it. And I'm telling you, there's a way for you to do that. I hope that answered your question, my friend. If you don't mind, we're going to continue the podcast. Feel free to ask more questions if you have them. Please do.
Watch
Please
it
do.
again, and you're in a different place.
Honestly, if you really want to make a lot of money, you just stay in here. And why? Because you're going to become a celebrity just by being in here. You're with the person who has more data anywhere. You know how many people I randomly get who come into this Discord a day? Like 10, 15? Do they all stay? No, but some do. The person who's in here, her name is Alframsha. She's from Poland. She likes what I do. She likes that I sing karaoke. She likes that I have a positive message. And, you know, even though it's nighttime in Poland, she's just chilling in here. And I get lots of random people who do that. And frankly, all it's going to take is just one person to be like, wait, you stream your life all the time? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I'm going to tell all my friends about it. And then they do, and all their friends are like, oh, let's go make fun of this person. And then they recognize, wow, that's a lot of data. That's a lot of social media. And literally, you can't go through it. With any other influencer, like, let's say, Kim Kardashian or Aiden Ross, you go to their Instagram and you scroll all the way to the bottom, you've seen it all. You go to on YouTube, you just type in their name and you'll basically watch all their videos within perhaps 20 or 30 hours. They don't have that much content. With mine, just with one of my streams, it's 3.5 years of content. Now, I've got at least 8 different streams going at any given time, and I'm making content throughout all of that. So my content builds on itself. It becomes almost an unlimited amount. It is limited, but it's more content by far than any person has in human existence. I mean, I just personally have been on camera publicly, live streaming on the internet more than any other person ever. Good questions, my man.
Sorry, I'm just.
You're good. Chill, man. Just chill, get high,
Culture is
chill,
in a different place.
and
Everything's in a
be
different place.
cozy.
And you have a different perspective on the movie. Maybe you like the movie. I hated Blade Runner when it first came out. Did not like the film. I thought it was awful. Really? Awful. Like boring.
I'm glad you're here.
Like muddled. Like everything that was wrong. And suddenly I'm seeing Kubrick shots in the end from...
I have a question. So when you made your name, like, you didn't know that I was king of the king of BBC on TikTok?
No, I don't understand.
Wow, I was one of which is exactly the same name that you have in this Discord. I just think that's wild.
The Shining, like
Roger would say,
Blade Runner should be called Blade Runner. No, I was really hard. I was really hard on movies. I was a really angry young guy. And
he was such a prick about shit. Now he's like bends over backwards to be nice about something. I go, who the fuck is this guy?
Humbled by life.
Well, I now look at, having been a filmmaker and and knowing the struggle that goes into getting something on screen. Look, I know how hard it is sometimes to get what you have up here on the screen, and it doesn't always work. And sometimes you're faking it by the time it gets to the cut. But it's not an easy thing. It's not. So when I watch a movie now, I'm applying my life experience to it, and I'm like, okay, this movie may not be the greatest movie, but this is somebody's vision.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give that. I'm gonna value that and give myself to it and try to find in it what I like about it. And so I always give every movie a shake, a good shake.
What's happened with our show that I think is really cool, again, for the fans that follow it and everything, is in our first season, we ended up like covering about 70 movies, all together. And we mentioned a zillion movies in the course of a show, but we covered about 70 movies altogether. And between the 3 movies that we did over the course of like 26 episodes, and we kind of created new classics, at least amongst the people who followed the show, because they followed it and they liked it, and they watched some old Mexican horror movie like Demonoid, and they, hey, that was pretty cool.
Demonoid is amazing.
And then everybody would put it down. If you tried to look at anything about it, it would all be shitty reviews about it and everything. But then we talked about it with passion, and then we gave the right context in which to appreciate the movie. It's a Killer Hand movie. And we gave the right context in which to appreciate the movie, and the people appreciated it under that right context.
Like, because the movie is old and because maybe they didn't have the money to
I'm
do it.
kind of limited in what I play.
Super.
I feel like if I get really into any game, it will take away from my streaming. I play Fortnite. I play chess. I play mini golf. I have played FIFA and Madden. I really like the game Civilization, Sid Meier's Civilization. So I play that. I don't know if you're familiar with that. I play Rome Total, all the Total War games. Pardon me? Excellent. What else do I play? There's some Fortnite and I said Fortnite. Like Roblox and Minecraft. I have accounts for those. I don't want to get too into a game because if I do, it'll take up all my time and I do other things.
You ever hear of Perseverance before?
I think so. Is it a good game?
No, World War II strategy.
That's baller as fuck, man. Okay, I'm gonna look it up. Hearts of Fire.
It's crazy. We have to worry about this.
Hearts of Iron. Beautiful. I'm gonna read all about it right now.
It's like, yeah.
It looks baller as fuck, man.
You control a country. It's
I mean,
they usually go for
Germany was never communist.
well, it's alternate history for that.
I got you. That's what I was wondering. Is it an alternate history? Very cool.
Yeah, you can go alternate history. You can go.
Amazing. That's really neat. I'll have to check it out. There you go. Do you find success?
It's fucking complicated.
Okay.
It took me like 100 hours.
Oh wow. Okay.
Sometimes you find success, other times you just like try to research. Then you waste it.
Right.
I think the longest one I had was
Wow.
then like you be in the middle of the game and then you play what's up to like
Oh wow, that's really cool.
oh, so
Clean or perfect. You know.
Actually, that actually has the best hand effects I've
Well,
ever seen.
yeah,
in my life.
that
Yeah.
movie in particular is actually a tough one to because it's. Is this Demon?
Yeah, that's it, right
So it's
there.
a killer hand that fucks
Yeah.
everybody up.
And the thing about
Is this the best like hand on the loose movie?
it's a Mexploitation movie. Okay, a Mexican exploitation movie. But the one that's great about it, one, she's fantastic in it, Samantha Eggar.
Samantha Eggar
She's
is.
become one of our heroes. All right, from the show.
I love
All right.
Samantha Eggar.
But the
this
thing,
movie looks hilarious.
but what's nice, but what's really cool about the Mexican horror genre is they take their tacky horror very seriously. It's tacky horror, but they take it really seriously, and you appreciate the seriousness that they're delivering their payload with.
And I know how hard it is to do some of the things that they're doing. This is like, it's pre-computer graphics. They have a limited budget, but their vision is so big, and you're watching it, you're like, oh my God, this is, if you try not to judge it on what a movie looks like today.
No, but not only just that, what's interesting is when you see some of the effects, there's a couple of the effects, well, how did they do that?
Yeah.
Because it's all done practical. And then some of it is like, oh, well, I can see how they did that. But oh my God, that's so fucking clever.
Yeah.
They figured out how to do it in such a clever way. I can see how they did it, but that's camera in a way that sells it.
Yeah.
And it's a crazy movie also.
That's crazy.
It's like you're inside of some sort of crazy Mexican's head making a horror movie. It's fantastic.
Well, the horror genre is hard to do to not make ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know?
Although the best thing about the horror genre and science fiction is that they're the best vehicles to kind of study culture and sociological issues, because you have that abstraction layer that, you know, makes people think, oh, I'm just watching a science fiction film, or I'm just watching a horror movie.
Right.
Like you watch Dawn of the Dead, and yeah, you're watching a movie about zombies in a shopping mall, or are you watching a movie about the vanishing middle class being drawn to the consumer temple because it's what they remembered from their lives? It was an important place to them.
Like literally quoting the movie.
I'm actually quoting my liner notes that I wrote for the DVD.
Let me stop and go to the bathroom one more time.
Okay.
The coffee is making me take a piss.
No worries. We can keep going.
Okay.
So when you first got into this, like, did you have a film that you aspired to create something like? Like when you first did you say, like
it's a composite.
Comedians would be like, I want to be the next Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, it was a composite. It was a composite. I have like a kind of a top 3 filmmaker. You know, when you're a young filmmaker and when you're a young child, you look to your parents to learn how to behave. You know, you're a child, and you look to them, and you're like, they teach you how to be.
Sure.
And so, at the beginning of your life, you're copying your parents, and because that's who you love, and it's what you're copying. When you're a young filmmaker, very frequently you kind of copy your parents, your cinematic parents, and so in my case, in many filmmakers, like for instance Stanley Kubrick, who's one of my favorite filmmakers, who I'm always thinking about his 0-point perspective, his reverse tracking shots. I just love the intention of his shots and how he assembles his movies. I like everything about his work. Kubrick,
huge fan.
He, if you love Fritz Lang, you can see that that's how he felt about Fritz Lang. Like when I watch M, I can see the Kubrick shots.
Is Fritz Lang Metropolis?
Yeah, he did Metropolis. He did, some of the greatest.
Metropolis is wild.
Metropolis is a super, super powerful and kind of important movie that's exactly talking about everything that's going on today that people should see. The movie I was thinking about was M, which is his movie with Peter Lorre about the pedophile and the movie's made in just before the Nazis took power. Oh, wow. And so he's making a movie that's really about like kind of the rise of Hitlerian fascism in Europe, and he's doing it through this movie about a pedophile, and it's Peter Lorre is fantastic, and it's actually his first sound movie. Like Fritz Lang hadn't made a sound movie, and so every single shot in the film is based on sound. So you have shadows talking and the backs of people's heads talking, or even the device of the movie is Peter Lorre whistling Peter Giant. That becomes like the device by which they find the killer in the movie. So the whole movie is about sound. So as a young filmmaker, if you want to learn how to use sound in a movie, that's the movie to see. Yeah, because every single shot, like it used to be, you would show an empty frame and it would just be a shot of nothing. But now Fritz Lang is able to juxtapose, like a woman has lost her daughter, She's calling for her daughter. And so she's looking for her daughter, and she's looking for her. And, Elsa! Elsa! And they cut to an empty shot of a stairwell, and you hear her, the playground. Elsa! And then you see the balloon that she was carrying trapped in something, like whipping in the wind. Elsa! And it's super, super intense. But all he's doing is he's using sound juxtaposed with images, which he couldn't do before.
Crazy they just called it M.
Yeah, M for murderer. And this is an amazing movie. So Kubrick, so that's a Kubrickian shot. That's it. This is where he's Elsa or Elsie. I seem to remember more Elsies, but
I think I got the wrong.
yeah, well, it's okay. But anyhow,
So this is
but so Kubrick had his forefathers who he used to watch and that he used to look to, and so those would be like my grandparents in a way. And so there's this like lineage of cinematic grammar and vernacular that gets carried on from filmmaker to filmmaker, and eventually, after you've made enough films, you start walking on your own. You start coming up with new ideas. But for me, it was Stanley Kubrick, John Borman. He's the guy who directed Excalibur, Hope and Glory, Point Blank, and Hell in the Pacific. I mean, a number of movies. I don't think I'm such a big fan of John Borman, some of his films. I think you're a fan of his writing more than you are his films.
No, I have nothing but respect for John.
Yeah, and John Borman, and then Roman Polanski. Yeah, I think those three guys for me, and their work, not the guys, but mostly their work. Like, I am a composite. If you watch my movies, I'm a composite of those guys and other people as well. And those were the filmmakers who were important to me. Those were my parents, so to speak.
Kubrick was such an odd one. Like his films are so different, and he was a weird guy too. He did like complex mathematics in his spare time.
I do complex mathematics. Nothing wrong with that. No, yeah, he's a weird guy, but he was also, I think, thinking 3 steps ahead of everybody at any kind of given moment. I mean, to be honest, I was just thinking, I just pulled my script from Eyes Wide Shut. I had a script that was from set, and I was reading it over the weekend, and I saw that it has this, I've known this for a long time, but I started really thinking about it over the weekend. It's missing a narration. It's missing a third-person narration that was originally in the movie. And that's because the movie was recut and changed after his death. And they will deny it. But as a student of Kubrick, I'm watching the movie and I'm like, oh, Kubrick wouldn't do that. Kubrick wouldn't do that either. Kubrick would have trimmed this scene.
I didn't know they recut it after his death.
Okay, so
I
apparently
think they finished it.
well, that's the party line.
That's a version,
That's the party line, but I think that they changed the notes, the close-ups, the inserts of the notes. I think those are changed. It's missing a narration. It's definitely missing a narration. A third-person narration, like that scene where he sees the prostitute who's died. He's at the morgue and he's looking at her, and he's like leaning over her. It's a bed for narration. There's this whole thing. What they do instead, because they couldn't say that Kubrick finished the movie because they hadn't done the recording of the narrator yet. And so maybe they just kind of clutched it together, except there's an entire thread that's kind of been squashed in that film. And that's the two men that are throughout the movie that are constantly in the background of the film, who eventually in the final shots of the film, you see like Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman in that final scene in the toy store when she's looking at the Rosemary's Baby bassinet, which is totally Kubrick saying something. And they never take their eyes off their daughter until the moment they take their eyes off and the final line of the movie is coming up. You see those two guys walking off with the daughter. They're taking her away. They've given their daughter to the pedo cult. That's what's happened at the end of the movie. And there's an incident where when they first screened the movie in England, people who were outside, this is all secondhand, but there were people who were outside of the theater who could hear inside of the theater Kubrick yelling at all the executives and saying it's my movie, you can't cut it. I can't fucking cut my film, blah, 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 blah. Big argument going on. Then he dies like 4 days later.
Oh, jeez.
So somebody went in and finished the movie, but I think when they finished the movie, they hid the film. The movie got changed into something else. And I would love to finish that film. I'm like,
Have you ever made an attempt?
I've thought about it, and reading the script over the weekend, I started seriously thinking about it. Well, somebody should recut this, or somebody should.
So it'd just be a matter of recutting it with narration?
Well, yes and no. There's obviously missing. There would be missing footage now. Things have been removed.
And is that
taken
accessible?
down. No. Not unless you crack it open and there's no way anybody
Here's the thing.
They would never.
But hold on, here's the thing. Now we have AI.
Well, I know. That's you're one step ahead of me. With AI.
The newer versions are pretty stunning.
Yeah, I've been working on Runway lately, which is
the curve is insane. Like the exponential curve of improvement.
I'm literally, as I'm working on things, I'll be talking to the guys, and I'll be saying, "Well, it'd be nice to be able to move the camera." Okay, we got that tool on Tuesday. We're going to give that to you. And so it's like literally whatever you think you can't do, ask us because we probably will be able to do it in a couple of days. And so it's advancing so fast and so rapidly that I, without telling you, Quentin, I made a little claymation version of you, and I have them talking. And, kind of funny looking.
I'm sure same version would be funny.
But it's a claymation version of both you and me.
How bizarre that something that would have cost like hundreds of millions of dollars, like if you wanted to do a film, like a Pixel type, one of those crazy movies where you have all this like insane animation, that shit took forever.
The best work that I've seen of it lately. It was the first time I've been kind of ignoring AI. I'm like, I know what it is. It's like form completion with visuals, and I get it. I understand what it is. And we'll see. But I like tactile, and I do. But I work on Beowulf. I made Beowulf with Robert Zemeckis.
Oh, okay.
And like that was a big, video puppetoon type CGI thing. My original
movie.
Motion capture.
Yeah, my original plan for that movie, because I was going to direct it myself, was to make it like in Iceland, under $10 million, just really dirty. I wanted it to be like like an early Terry Gilliam film, like Jabberwocky. That was actually the one Neil and I were thinking about when Neil Gaiman, when my co-writer on that film, and the movie ended up getting made much bigger. Suddenly it was like, whatever budget I had was probably our craft service budget. It's nothing like making a $100 million movie. It's like sushi every day, champagne, fly the plane to England, whatever you want. It's like it's crazy, but that was definitely not the movie I had planned on making. However, when we made it, and it turned into this big performance capture thing, it was fun. Like working with Zemeckis, and he's such an excitable, creative genius. And even before you were able to do stuff like what he was doing in that film, he was constantly taking, when he made Contact, take that eyebrow off of Jodie Foster. I like that eyebrow thing she does, and so put that on this take. And so he was messing with her face and doing all sorts of performance stuff.
Wow.
And even when you go back to his earliest film, I Want to Hold Your Hand. I Want to Hold Your Hand is almost a visual trick, having the Beatles there but not be there, and even though he's not using computer graphics, I think he's just a really super inventive guy, and it was so much fun making the movie with him because we
What year was that?
Inventing technologies. That was 2010. I think
Jamie,
the movie
we
came
pull
out.
up Beowulf. Let's watch some of that.
Well,
I want to remember what it looks like.
It looks probably like a video game pre-cut scene at this
That's
point.
what's crazy, right?
I've thought about taking Beowulf, importing it into my system, and then just painting over it.
Let's fucking go, Roger.
Which,
let's fucking go.
which, by the way, you can do easily.
Yeah.
Easily. I thought about
So let me see
fixing.
what this looks like with the Beowulf. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a video game cutscene at this point.
Yeah. But it was kind of cool because everybody looked like that, not just the monster. That was kind of cool about it.
I mean, the difference is that this was actual like performances, and so we could take Ray Winstone and have him. Ray Winstone doesn't look like that; he looks a little heftier, and
Cuts his own
Cuts his own-
fucking arm.
cuts
off.
my arm off. Cut my own arm off. It's funny because our original script was much more modest than this, but then Zemeckis was like, "Okay, boys, it costs $1 million a minute. Do whatever you want."
He stabs a dragon in the heart. Oh no.
This movie is kind of I mean, it's a little. It's an interesting experience. What happened to me on this film? If you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was going to make this movie myself. I had set it up initially at Image Movers with Zemeckis producing, and then it fell out. And the rights kind of reverted back to me. I had to cover the turnaround on it, but the rights reverted back to me, and I was going to go make the movie myself for nothing. And I was trying to set it up, and I was broke at the time, and I was not going to make money, and I had to cover the turnaround expenses myself on the film, which were considerable. But I wanted to make the movie really bad, and I was working on Silent Hill, this other movie I wrote, and I suddenly started getting calls, and it was like the producer of Polar Express, this guy Steve Bang, wanted to buy the script. It's like, I want to buy it for Zemeckis. And I said, too little, too late. I'm making it now. And I kept saying no. And I was working on this film in Canada, and I'm just trying to finish it. And every hour I'm getting a call from agents at CA, and they're like,
Jack Rapke, right?
yeah, it was Jack. Actually, yeah, it was Jack. How did you know it was Jack? Did I tell you that?
Well, no, because
And so I was getting
he's
a
the
call.
guy who gets shit done.
Yeah, he is the guy who gets shit done. Well, I was like, no, and no, I won't. I'm doing it myself. No. And Steve Bang, and I said, calls me, I'm firing the agency. And they're like, will you at least meet with the producer? And so I went ahead and I meet with them. And he says, listen, if I don't make this film with Zemeckis, with Bob, I'm going to miss the moment. I'm going to lose the movie. It's going to be over. Just what's your price? Just tell me what's your price. And I said, I don't have a price. I don't work like that. He said, listen, everybody's got a price. I said, well, I may have one, but I'm not going to tell you. He said, look, why don't you just tell me, just discourage me. So I said, okay, you want me to discourage you? And so I started like making shit up. I need this. I want that. I want this. I want this. I tried to come up with how much money had anybody ever made on a script, and let's add some money to that. I went over the top. He's, well, Roger, that is. And I had grown a beard to make the movie, grew my hair long like a Viking to learn about, why Vikings had beards, etc. All that kind of stuff. I'm making the movie. I'm a Viking. I said, well, Roger, that is really discouraging, but we have a deal. and I was like, well, okay. And I started driving home, and I'd never done anything. I'd never done something for money before. I'd always done it for passion, and then the money came. And this was the first time in my life that I'd ever made a choice based on money. This titanic amount of money, and I was, broke. And I went home and I cried. And then the check came, and nothing dries tears like money. And then Zemeckis invited me into the process, which was really great of him. He really wanted me and Neil to be at his side and collaborate with him. And it was a fabulous experience. But to be honest, I was like, who am I now? What does it all mean? I just gave away something I'd wanted to do my entire life. I've always been chasing this John Borman film, Excalibur. I think it's one of the most beautiful movies ever made about the Arthurian legends. And if you watch Beowulf and Excalibur, they're very, very similar, actually, thematically. And so I was like, who am I now? What does it all mean? I don't even care. I don't even know if I want to make a movie anymore. What do I have to tell now that I've just completely sold out? And then I was at a dinner, and big dinner, and I was driving home that night, and I was giving somebody who was at the dinner a lift. My wife was in the back seat of the car, and we were. I told my daughter I was going to be home by midnight, We lived in Ohio. It was dark. And so I was speeding. I have a lead foot. And I was speeding to get there without getting into the details of what happened. I lost control of the car. There was another vehicle that fled the scene. I lost control of the vehicle. I think my tire blew, but I was going into a ditch, and I knew I was going into this deep ditch because it was right near my house, full of rocks and stuff. I knew if I go in there, we'll die. And so I turned and then I turned away from it to try to. The car spun out, and I ended up on the other side of the street where I knew there was like a cow pasture. And I was like, well, what's the worst thing that can happen there? Well, it was pretty bad. There was a telephone pole, and I hit the telephone pole. My passenger took the impact, and my wife was thrown from the car. When I came to, all I could hear was the horn. Hearing's going to have glass in my mouth, and I'm injured as well. I climb out of the car, and it's dark. It's really dark. But somebody's already arrived, the ex-DA from Ventura County, who did all the drunk driving laws and put those on the books. And he was the first person on the scene. I was right near the fire department. They showed up shortly afterwards. But when I jumped out of the car, I came running around to see what happened. I saw my wife on the asphalt. She'd been thrown from the vehicle. And I threw myself onto my knees on the pavement, and I found myself in that moment asking for the one thing that mattered, which was his life. She looked dead, and I just, in that moment, I dug down. I begged her to come back to life, and I said, I will give anything for life. Just in any form, I'll take it. And in that moment, she came back to life. It was like the life came back into her. Okay, it was a completely fucked up scene. My other passenger was dying in the car or dead. The police are suddenly there. And next thing I know, I'm in jail. And suddenly, suddenly I found myself in jail.
The more that I think of it, the more that I come to believe that this invention is responsible for the suburbs as we know it. This unassuming little piece of metal, it's called a gang nail plate or a truss plate. Its job is to affix pieces of wood together at their joints. What's really unique about it, though, is that it can securely connect wood members positioned at almost any angle. With the aid of these plates, houses made of standard 2x4 studs can have open floor plans, cathedral ceilings, and complicated roof shapes, all constructed with ease. You may recognize all those three traits as the common features of modern suburban homes, especially the so-called McMansions. This video is supported by personally cannot think of a single invention that is so simple that has created such a profound effect in the way that we build. Drake has been compared to Henry Ford for how he ushered in a new era for housing by shifting a significant portion of his construction to an assembly line. Not only did Drake go into business making these plates, he created an entire new operation strategy that delivers finished trusses to the job site. Drake's final hurdle for wide adoption, though, was to get these new plates and technology approved for use in the building code that he used to work on. So since Drake was on that committee, coupled with the fact that the nameplate was simply performing better, the case was pretty simple. By the early 1960s, the plates were approved for use within building codes across the U.S. They added a new line in the building code in the section on wood construction for trusses. By the 1970s, pre-manufactured trusses became the norm in suburban residential construction. And this impacted the design of how houses looked and functioned. You can probably spot the difference between a house built in the 1940s and the 1970s. You might not attribute them to the truss construction. So let's look a little bit more closely to see how those added. First, trusses make it more difficult to occupy the space that's underneath of a sloped roof. So attics become less common once trusses are adopted. This was often offset with storage in the basement or in large garages like you see in this one, depending on the regional building practices. Another feature is that you can have a deeper floor plan without the need for multiple roof slopes, because the truss can span further with smaller pieces of wood. The higher strength to weight ratio also means that it can span the entire width of the house without the need for any internal support walls. All the weight of the roof is carried down through the outer walls. Since these exterior walls are carrying the majority of the load, they might be built with larger wood members, maybe 2x6s instead of the standard 2x4s. That just gives more space for the insulation to occupy. Meanwhile, there are no interior walls that bear the weight of the roof. So let's say you want larger spaces on the first floor with a series of smaller bedrooms on the top. That's more difficult to do with the older system, where the internal walls probably carry the weight of the room. The walls of the bedrooms may need to align and carry down that weight down to the first floor. But when these don't take any of that weight, the floors work completely independently. The first floor can be completely open, while the second has lots of walls in it. While you might not know that all these features are made possible using trusses, you can probably just feel the difference in the openness or the lack of attics and things like that. But of course, these are just a small price to pay for all of the benefits. Then, during the 1980s, things started to take a bit of a turn. Home builders started to become the main characters. They recognized that larger homes were more profitable than the smaller ones. They started to prioritize size and complexity over things like quality and sustainability. And at this time, homes started to shift to become more of an investment vehicle than just a place to live. At the same time, the oil crisis eased and financial markets boomed in the wake of new technologies. There was more money, cheaper gas, and an incentive to build big, often by the people who weren't even planning to live inside these homes. I think it's no coincidence that the company that Drake founded was among the first to use computer-aided design for building components. They bought a $1 million room-sized computer to calculate the truss forces and designs. It was a good thing too, because things, they're about to get crazy. Enter the McMansion. McMansion. People here were calling it McMansion. These things are built even further away from cities. They took all of those things that we discussed as being features of the 1970s homes that we attributed to the truss and exaggerated them. Huge, complicated, often uninhabitable roofs, along with sprawling open floor plans. The multitude of roof beams everywhere became almost a caricature of a house, supersized and simple in excess. When I view these and this, I think that these houses almost look like they're specifically designed to showcase what trusses and gangnam plates made possible. Just look at how many trusses are up there. That's probably what these two dudes are talking about. Trusses also make cathedral ceilings affordable through something called a scissor truss. Imagine the bottom part of the truss angling upward like an open pair of scissors. Even those gigantic foyers that we associate with these kinds of buildings became possible because of the truss plates. So here's the big irony. The invention that's meant to make homes stronger and more efficient also played a huge role in creating less sustainable living patterns. Instead of pocketing the savings that the truss plates offer, our houses ballooned to fill the gap, using even more energy and materials in the end. It shifted our values from the handcrafted to the mass-produced, from the unique to the uniform. It stretched our cities outward, consuming landscapes and altering our ecosystems. It changed how we interact with all sorts of things, just like our home facilitate interaction between family members. But that comes at the cost of added stress, as everyone is exposed to noise and activity all the time. While open spaces make it easier to be together, they also make it more difficult for individuals to withdraw for solitude or to feel like they have any control over their individual environments. Shared spaces also just tend to accumulate clutter, contributing to the feelings of disorganization and stress overall. And if psychological trauma isn't enough, by the 2000s, rapid home construction, accelerated by the efficiencies that were made possible by the Trust Plate, contributed to overproduction in the housing market. The trend towards larger homes increased household debt, while the construction surge contributed to this misguided perception that homes were just going to increase in values forever. Berkshire Hathaway purchased Geraint's company in 2001, and 7 years later, the housing market collapsed, and Berkshire Hathaway became the company that bailed everyone out and pocketed billions. So look, I am not blaming the last 60 years of suburban sprawl, aesthetic erosion, and the biggest economic meltdown since the Great Depression solely on Calvin Geraint and his Trust Plate. But sometimes it's hard to untangle cause and effect. Did we start wanting open floor plans and elaborate roofs just because they became possible? Or was the trust fulfilling some innate desires that we had for our homes that just wouldn't have been feasible before? Was the
I found myself guilty of manslaughter, and something that is absolutely irreversible happening, which is, someone lost their life at my hand. And so after that, I found myself in jail and doing time, and suddenly everything that had come was gone. Like everything that I had made, gone. It all went, out.
All that money you made,
All that to the settlement. It didn't even have time to spend it. Didn't even have time to register that it was there, and it was gone because it doesn't. It was like it was not real, and then you find yourself in jail, and suddenly everything is gone. Career is gone. Everybody stops calling. It's over. 2 hit films, doesn't matter. It's all over. In fact, it was right in the middle of the publicity window. It was just toward the end of it. And it's the most horrible thing that has ever happened to me. And I found myself then alone in jail, incarcerated, alone with my remorse and regret, and really getting existential about things. Really coming to appreciate, simple existence is the best thing there is. It's people don't appreciate what we have. You don't appreciate it until it's gone, and can go first of all, we live in bodies of glass. My wife was horribly injured, and and it has been a decade to not just rebuild our lives, but to for her to come back to health even. What it did though, as because I would do anything to reverse that, to reverse what happened. I would give anything to do it. And I don't say this lightly, but having said that, I'm kind of grateful as well, because I was asleep walking through life. And it wasn't until that happened that I completely, it changed how I see everything. It was like my third eye opened up. I don't view anything the same way. Once you've been incarcerated and you've been deprived of everything, and you have a lot of time to think and be existential. You come out of that, at least I came out of that experience, and I looked at a tree and I was like, okay, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. I hope I never not feel this way. This appreciation for a cloud. To be able, like when you're in prison, to be able to pet a cat, for example. It's so simple. It's such a nothing thing, you think. Okay, to be able to pet an animal is like a gift. The simplest things are gifts. When I was in jail, it was also a little bit like a comedy. You have people walking in circles, and everybody's trying to control the outside. And so you start really seeing human behavior up front. I mean, when I was in jail, they're literally during the Academy Awards, it's on the TV in the tank, and I'm watching him win like for Django.
I'm
like,
Oscar for Django.
so while Quentin is like at the height of things, I'm pretty much at the
He's
bottom.
watching through bars. Or
No,
they're at the bar.
And not only that, but Greg Shapiro, who produced The Rules of Attraction for me, my producer, he came and visited me with Robin Wright in the days that followed. He won for Zero Dark 30.
Yeah.
And so I'm like there, like to be taken from one point where you feel like you're at the top, and you're like, oh, you think you understand things. No, they take you and put you at the bottom. But let me tell you something. In that moment, I was sitting on the asphalt, and my wife came back to life. I immediately knew what I had to say as a filmmaker. After that, it was like whatever cynicism I had, about the movie and not making it, it just went away.
Yeah.
It evaporated. And the ecstatic experiences, and they were ecstatic, that I had in jail were like, you see things kind of for real. When you see somebody, get hanged by their cellie in a cell, or when you know that, that El Salvadorian MS-13 hitman guy, he's going to kill that gay dude. He's going to kill him in the yard. I'll go lock myself in my cell. Literally, I'll go lock myself in. You shut the door because shit is going to go down. And so, like that was like every day. And so suddenly it was like, and also you really know who stands with you after something horrible happens. And like John Langley, our customer from Video Archives, ended up being like when I was in jail, he loaned me money, and
There we go. Thank you, Yo-Yo. I was about to flip shit. Uh-oh. WTF happened here? Yo, dog. Oh, shit again. Kiefer. Kiefer Sutherland. on the duck. Some of the stuff on the duck. What is this? What are we doing? What's going on here? Voice connected. That shit sucks. Memeology. Study memes. Who's my major? Really? It's whatever you want it to be. This is the worst. You read about your terrorist? Fuck yeah, because his dick is the bomb, girl. Yo, Doug. Ready to sing your dick off? Oh shit, there are 8 people in there. Is it time? Oh, man. Let's finish watching this shit.
And he gave me my first job when I got out. That was our customer who did that. And so, like, I value our customers.
Yeah.
Like, and especially John and his family and Maggie, who I like. It really is. I talk about John a lot, but really Maggie, she was really my big champion, I think. And so, anyhow, you know, what it taught me actually, because I was a filmmaker and up my own ass most of the time, but what it kind of taught me was, you know, be compassionate to other people, because you might not know it, but they might be going through shit in their lives, you know, and God forbid it be something health related, which is almost out of your control. But, you know, people are suffering and people are struggling. And I used to be a lot more cavalier about people and kind of fuck with people and be forceful with people and not really care as much. Now I'm acutely aware of people and, you know, what they may be going through. It's just
I think this is the best way to wrap this up. Perfect. Gentlemen, thank you very much. This is an awesome conversation.
This has been really
appreciate
great.
it.
Thank you for letting us come.
3.5 hours just flew by.
Thank you.
Oh my
so
god!
much.
I actually thought, oh, I guess he's wrapping it up quick.
No, I think it's 3 hours.
I thought it was like 90
3 hours
minutes.
and 15
I
minutes.
thought it was like
at least.
90 minutes.
No, there it is. The Video Archives podcast on Patreon.
Patreon.com.
Patreon.com/.
Video Archives. If you just look up videoarchivespodcast.com, it'll lead you there.
Beautiful. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Joe Rogan podcast, check it out. Check it out. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan.
Check it out. The Joe Rogan experience. Check it out. Oh man, what's it gonna be? Some loser? Sure. It's probably some douche who fucking streams his life all the day. All the day? What about just all day, B? What up, freak bitches? Bert Soren. Who's this? I bet he sucks. Who's Rick Strassman? I bet he sucks. Oh man, I gotta take a dump. Perhaps. What are you thinking? It's hard to judge color. I don't really see colors.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night.
What the fuck is this?
It's a pair of athletic equipment you brought to the gym.
Absolutely.
Is there a photo of that so we can show people what it looks like?
Yeah, it should be on the website X Factor.
And what is it called?
It's called the X Factor.
Oh, it's called the
Yeah,
X Factor. What is the website?
Sorenex.com.
Go to sorenex.com. Check out the X Factor.
So it's actually pull it up, Jamie.
Pull it up, Jim. Isn't that nice to say that?
Gosh, man,
It's
I'm
fun,
telling
right?
you, it's big.
So this is the machine.
Yeah, it's actually Judge who was here a minute ago.
Yeah, is a brilliant machine, man. The idea that you could push and pull rotational power machine. It really is a genius idea, man. And for things like striking sports, that's huge. Like the ability to push and pull at the same time while stabilizing your core. I mean, that is undoubtedly going to help people. Like, you're definitely going to be able to deliver more power in strikes.
Right, because you take the ground force and then be able to put it through, obviously, with the core, because that's all three planes of motion all obviously go through your core, and then puts it into either your feet or your arms.
It's just so unusual that you can do something like that. I mean, I guess you kind of can do something like that with cables, with the cable machine, but that seems better.
Yeah, because you have a little bit of a balance component as well. But you're right, like you're blocking, let's say you're a right hand, you're blocking on that left leg, you're stabilizing out the right hamstring and hip. But yeah, especially when you get that little extra extension, I call it the riblets right there, your obliques, it just locks everything in. So I'm interested to see what you come up with.
It's pretty dope. And you were telling me that this was originally like you came up with this idea from an older machine that's not around.
Yeah. So we I've been in this industry a long time, and as well as you have, but it's kind of taken a remastered series where we're taking all like the cool stuff that could have been our designs, but it could have been just old designs that are just like kind of lost to the ages. And you're like, hey, that was a cool piece, but it sucked because you had to load it weird, or it was like maybe wasn't as safe as it could have been. And so it's like, let's break the whole thing apart, figure out what was good about it. And then that was like the 8th iteration. We just kept playing with it. And then it was like, when you realize the double axis is what made the user experience cool. And it was like, okay, this is badass. And, I sent that video to you, and then a couple colleges have already bought them. And then Ryan Krauser, world champion and record holder in the shot put, was like, yeah, like this is all rotational power. How do we turn that on? So,
yeah, it's so cool today because there's so much social media and there's so many videos and YouTube videos of people using equipment. Like 15, 20 years ago, you had to go to a gym and go, oh, what is that? Oh, that's cool. Where'd you get that? How's that work?
The big guy in the
Where's
gym,
the
you had to like go, hey, what's the deal? I mean, I grew up in the same era where we're going to gyms all the time, and there's a bunch of clown you to do stuff.
Always,
And then
there's bro scientists,
total bro scientists. And then you just like, hey, if that guy's really good at something, Back in the day, I would, after I compete, probably much like you, after I compete, I would get whoever was than me, and I would offer to take him out to dinner. And I would just go, hey, like I'd feed them beers until they basically told me how they beat me. Just like, well, how much are you cleaning, or what are you doing? Then I would pick up some little idiosyncrasy of training. They're like, oh, we would do this contrast. And I'm like, what's that? I would just keep digging and digging and digging. I'd go back and figure it out.
Well, I remember when I was competing, they would need to not lift weights, which is so hilarious.
You don't get muscle bound, Joe.
They used to say that. They used to say it will slow you down and you'll become tight.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, why don't you just stretch if you're tight?
Yeah. So more horsepower makes the car slower?
It didn't make any sense to me. It's like they thought that the only exercise you should do is martial arts itself. Just hit the bag, train.
Now, when do you think that? Well, you got, Bruce Lee would do. I mean, he did some exercise.
Did a lot of isometrics.
Yeah. And he had some lifting, but it was always pretty light. But what would you say was when that changed?
I think it was Evander Holyfield. I think it was Mackie Shilstone trained Evander Holyfield when he went up to heavyweight. And I remember myself at the time, so this was in the 90s, I remember thinking, what is he doing? He's lifting weights. He's going to fuck himself up. Doesn't he know that all these coaches have already figured it out?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, Evander got all these traps.
Dude, he was trapped and dealt it out.
He got jacked, and he became a legitimate heavyweight. Also, pretty sure there were some Mexican supplements involved.
Yeah, he might have gone across the border.
I think it's a strong
possibility. The 90s are a good time.
I think it's a strong possibility that there was some help. Because also, you never heard of anybody tested positive for steroids back then.
No.
And I know for a fact that some of those guys were on steroids.
I would not disagree.
I know people who know people, and I mean,
we're all the same.
I would fucking put it all on black.
Well, because up until 91, steroids weren't even illegal as a controlled substance.
Do you know who caused it to be illegal? Joe Biden.
No shit.
Yep, that motherfucker. It was all him. Yeah,
You know,
Derek from More Plates, More Dates was telling us about it the other
Right.
day. I'm like, that motherfucker. He did it.
that should be alone a reason.
Well, I guess the idea is that people could abuse it, right?
Right.
But here's the deal, folks. You can abuse almost everything.
Sure.
This is my argument against online gambling. You know, there's a lot of people that think online gambling should be banned because so many people are losing money on online gambling. Shut the fuck up. Do you know how easy it is to not online gamble? It's so easy. You know how easy it is? I've never online gambled.
It makes two of us.
That's how easy it is to not online gamble.
I'd probably forget my password to
Yeah.
get into the thing, but yeah.
Like, I'm not discounting the
Right.
fact that gambling is addictive. I personally know gambling addicts. One of my best friends, Dana White, is a fucking gambling addict. He happens to be insanely wealthy, so he can get away with it. But
That helps.
I grew up in pool halls. I know
Yep.
gambling addicts. I get it. I'm not one.
Yeah.
So it's possible to like fucking have some self-control and discipline and willpower.
The weird thing, I've never done crack either.
Crazy.
It's
Do you know
strange.
crack is everywhere? It's a scourge of humanity. I've never done crack.
You know, it's really weird. I've never even seen crack.
I've seen it.
Yeah,
It's weird.
I saw cocaine once in my entire life, which is wild based on.
That is pretty
I
wild.
know a lot of people, and it's like, yeah, like, did they just think I would just say no to that? Because I grew up in the 80s, just say no generation. But
I haven't seen
I didn't
coke
think it was like a real thing.
since I was in high school. I've never.
Really?
Yeah. Which is kind of crazy because I know so many people who do coke.
Yeah.
But I was at a party in high school the last time I saw someone doing coke.
No way.
Yeah.
In your world.
Yeah, my world. Yeah. I don't do anything like that. I don't ever fuck around. I've never done coke. I've never even thought about doing it.
Man, yeah. But
Never had the desire because I was around people that were abusing it when I was in high school.
Sure.
So I was like, okay.
do you think that
Yo, dog. Can you hear yourself? I think so. All right. So this guy just invents a fucking machine and he gets to fucking be on the Joe Rogan Experience? What up, Kimberly? How you living, girl? When's the last time you were fisted by a rabbit? Oh, are you fucking serious? How you living,
So,
pimp?
you record yourself having sex? No offense.
Who knows? At this point, I have been doing this live for more than 3 years, and yeah, so I may have some sex tapes out there. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, maybe. You probably have had sex on camera, but no one's cared enough to record it.
No, I know people have likely recorded. I remember perhaps I was paid to fuck his wife, and that might have been on camera. Who knows? Hope that answered your question.
Yeah, it does. Interesting.
Cool.
So, okay, that's it. It looks like a guy on the Joe Rogan background. Who's that guy?
I'll get you his name in a second. Just a moment.
I'm less interested in the name than your white pick the guy.
Bert Soren? Dog, I didn't pick him. It's a podcast, my G.
I think that's because you're such like a strong personality and like kind of role model to people like, hey, Joe's not into that, like keep it away from him. You think they're like respectful of that
because.
and just kind of know the deal?
They just know I don't want it.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so.
I'm just not interested in anything that gives me more confidence. I'm not interested in that. I got plenty of that. I like humility. I'm looking for humility. I don't like confidence boosters.
Yeah,
I don't like anything that gives you like
You can't
a
hear that?
ridiculous sense of like your
Yeah.
abilities. Like I'm not.
Yeah.
I'd rather be humble.
Okay, let me see.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in.
I mean, delusion is a strong suit.
No,
If you-
sometimes.
yeah, no, and it can get you bound up too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think it gets you pretty far, and then your fucking wheels come off. You're in
Speed
a
wobbles.
ditch.
It's like when you're skateboarding when you're a kid. And you just,
Yeah. Have you ever seen a guy on a motorcycle and you see when they do that, and you're like, no! This episode is brought to you by The Farmer's Dog. Dogs are amazing. They're loyal. They're lovable. Like, just having Marshall around can make my day 10 times better. I'm sure you love your dog just as much, and you want to do your best to help
There you
them
go.
live longer, healthier, happier lives.
Wait,
And a healthy
No, that's
life
still
for
not
your
right.
dog starts with healthy
Hold
food,
on.
just like it does for us. There's a reason having a balanced diet is so important. So how do you know if your dog's food is as healthy and as safe as it can be? Well, Farmer's Dog gives you that peace of mind by making fresh, real food developed by board-certified nutritionists to provide all the nutrients your dog needs. And their food is human grade, which means it's made to the same quality and safety standards as human food. Very few pet foods are made to this strict standard. And let's be clear, human grade food doesn't mean the food is fancy. It just means it's safe and healthy. It's simple, real food from people
Yeah, I
who
mean, I
care
really asked
about
for
what
'em.
goes
I
into
just
your
started it,
dog's
like, 6
body.
months
The
ago.
Farmer's Dog makes it easy to help your dog live a long, healthy life by sending you fresh food that's pre-portioned, just
But
breeds
that's
from their
the original
size to their
Monster thing.
personality to their health.
You like
Every dog
Monsters?
is unique. Plus, precise portions can help.
like, who's your favorite monster?
Well, you want me to go an actual monster?
I want to know why isn't it Cookie Monster?
Cookie Monster's a pretty good one. You
Yeah.
know the Bumpus?
Let me see it. Hold on.
It's like a saber-toothed tiger or sphinx with 4 legs. I like that one a lot.
It's an interesting one. What makes you think? Why do you think you got into monsters?
Monsters that are creatures, I'm really not that into them. I just find them cool. And with the drink, I used to be a Red Bull guy before, when I used to work a job, right? I'd drink a Red Bull before my shift because I thought Monster was for gay people. But then my uncle gave me a Monster Energy. My uncle's pretty cool, and I really liked it more than I liked Red Bull, so it just became my drink.
There you go, big guy. What's your favorite kind of monster? Monster Energy.
The white one.
Okay. Have you ever had their
Then second place,
Have you ever had their mocha?
or mocha.
Yeah,
Isn't it called like Mocha Loco? Yeah,
Some-
it's pretty good.
something like that. Yeah. All right. Very cool.
Have you ever had their salted caramel?
I may have. One time I tried 3 of them at once, just to see which one I like more. But they were all coffee related. It could have been though. They came out with like a coffee line or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
know the Java.
yeah, exact Java. There you go. Yeah, it was. I actually liked it a lot. It was really good. All right. So, how'd you find out about me?
Well, knowing like the 3 most common flavors of Java are, I think it's called Cafe Latte, which is just a typical latte. Then Bean Bean, which is vanilla, and then Mocha, which is chocolate.
There you go. I think those are the 3 that I tried. Wow, you know a lot about them.
Yeah, based on that assumption, you didn't have the Irish cream or the salted caramel, which is sad because those are the best ones.
Okay, so If I ever have to try one, those are the ones you recommend.
The one I recommend if you had to try Monster, right? If you wanted to run out to the gas station and try something new, either the peaches and cream or orange dreamsicle monsters.
Peaches and cream or orange dreamsicle monsters. Okay. And why do you recommend those? Why do you recommend those? They taste the best? Or they give you the most energy?
They, by soda standards,
I gotcha.
like I like White Monster, and that's pretty unique. Same with the original, and a lot of flavors really don't try to be original. You know, they don't try to be unique. Like the golds and the strawberries and the peachy cleans, you can get those in like Fanta flavors. But peaches and cream and orange creamsicle soda, you know, the cream element in Monster tastes pretty good too. But it's mainly because you don't really find that in other soda brands.
Yeah, I would say it's quite unique. All right, now, have you gone back to, or even thought about going back to Red Bull since you jumped on the Monster bandwagon?
I still drink Red Bull pretty often. I stopped drinking the other flavors of Red Bull. So if I ever wanted something like white and coconut, I just grab a white Monster like naturally. But the main flavors of Red Bull, there's only two I have interest in anymore after I switched. So you could say my interest went from all five of the flavors down to two. That would be apricot and original.
All right. You don't think that original tastes like dog shit?
I think it's a compromise.
Yes,
for
I'm in agreement with
pretty
you.
much an apple soda.
Okay. Yeah, I would say that it's not it's not delicious, I would say. It kind of is just like, I don't know, it almost to me makes you want to drink it slower because it's not really good tasting, perhaps. I mean, other people may have
Yeah, I don't
disagreements.
entirely disagree with the fact that Red Bull doesn't taste so good,
But
I like red apples.
But then I'll tell you, the Monster, the 3 Java ones you named, those all tasted great. I mean, great. They were really good.
Yeah,
So if I may ask,
I'm not saying that. Like, I don't drink Red Bull that often because I don't think Red Bull's that good because of the taste. But if I want caffeine and I've been cycling around, you know, a bunch of like original and white, and I haven't had anything new in a while, I'll go back to like an apricot or regular Red Bull. It's not particularly good, but it adds something to variety, and it definitely does when you're short on red apple flavor in a lot of sodas.
yeah, that's an interesting point. They really don't make an apple soda. No one makes an apple soda. You get apple juice.
Everyone makes a green apple soda. Everyone has a green apple soda.
I mean, there's not like a Coca-Cola apple or Pepsi apple. Like if you want something like that, then you get it from like Minute Maid, which is like a subsidiary of Coca-Cola.
Yeah, but it's not really carbonated.
No, exactly. And
Exactly, yeah. You compromise on a lot.
yeah, definitely. Do you find you get the same buzz out of them that you should, or that you feel like you should?
Caffeine isn't really that effective.
I would imagine. I mean, you know, you're like an energy drink connoisseur. I really mean that. For you to be able to be like, nah, there are 3 kinds of monsters and yada yada yada. That's a connoisseur. So I imagine the
even since one of my first experiences with anything related to caffeine, this is before I even drink coffee.
okay,
I was about 13 years old and I wanted to pull an all-nighter with one of my friends, right? The plan was I show up on Saturday mid-afternoon and then midday through, early Sunday morning, we'd go to church somehow off of no sleep, look just fine in front of a bunch of people this guy knows, and then, hang out, maybe finally get like a 2-hour nap at the end of that, right?
right?
I wouldn't surprise. So my idea was walk down to Taco Bell, and on the gas station right in front of it, I would grab 2 tropical 5-hour energies and pour them in my Baja Blast.
Okay.
That
And
was a solid 435 milligrams of caffeine.
right,
No,
just
470 milligrams of caffeine.
and that did the trick.
I took a nap when I got home.
I bet that was an amazing nap.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It pretty much did that.
Excellent. Now, any other drinks that you like?
Oh, plenty of them.
Like
I'm
what?
a huge fan of sweet tea.
Okay, all right. Talk to me about sweet tea. I don't know that much about it. I mean, I know it's like a southern thing. It's just like
Yeah.
sweetened iced tea, right?
Georgia.
Okay, so then,
I see a lot of people. I've asked over 5 people their favorite flavor of Arizona iced tea, right?
okay,
I've never heard anyone say either the original or the peachy original.
okay. So,
In my opinion, I'm not a big fan of it.
oh, that's interesting. Okay, what's the 99-cent one?
That's
They're
Arizona.
all like that, unless you buy a gallon.
Oh no,
Unless
okay,
you live in California.
okay. So, they're all 99 cents.
Yeah, unless you buy a gallon.
Okay, I mean, I just
Which are about
the reason I don't, I,
24 cans for 99 cents on average.
yeah, I don't seems pretty cool to me because he's made it. He says like, yeah, we could charge more for it, but we don't. And
But,
weird dog. If you're wondering what I'm doing, as I stream all the time, I have to reset my streams every once in a while. So that's just what I'm doing right now. But I'm more than happy to speak with you. If I may ask, how'd you find out about me?
my friend.
Well, shout out to your friend. Is your friend on Discord?
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Well, do you mind if I tell you a little bit about myself?
Oh, no, not at all.
Excellent. Well, I'm Rabbi Rothschild. I've been live streaming 24/7, 365 for more than 3 years. I stream my life for world peace. I don't want war anymore. I like to do what I can to infuse the world peace discussion into the daily conversations that I have with people. I am a very major proponent in world peace and really having diplomatic relations amongst people of the world. I don't feel it's right for you to put your hands on me without consent, nor vice versa. I talk about a lot of things with people on here that aren't normally discussed in society. Things like anti-gravity, antimatter, alien disclosure. Have you seen some of the things that have been happening on the East Coast of the United States recently, particularly New Jersey? You haven't? Okay. I mean, I respect that. So if you didn't know, in November there was a congressional hearing on UFOs, and then basically for the last 2 weeks in New Jersey, they've had these UFO flaps where people have been seeing like 50 of them at once. Here, just so you're aware what's going on. Here's a lady, I think from Fox News, talking about it. like she saw it herself along with her family. Let's see here. So this was 2 days ago, but basically the government doesn't have answers to what these things are. Just one moment.
You on the show, it's amazing here because you say you don't believe there's a level of threat, but you gotta be concerned when you hear numbers like 7,000. What do you make of all this? It's very concerning, trying to get answers from our government. You have to ask yourself, why it's telling us that there is no threat. If they don't know these may be huge issues in our community. They're concerned. If people telling me that they're thinking about moving out to different states, this is assets. It's concerning. It is concerning, and you made a very good point. I don't know what kind of little doubt that because Tony Gonzalez, the congressman, I have this question for the assistant FBI. You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are in New Jersey? Is that correct? That's right. It's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. That's madness that we don't know what these drones are. It is crazy, Greg, and that's the whole thing. Do you think that there's some lying going on, some deceptiveness, or do you really think they have no idea what's going on? Well, I think some of them don't know. There's a lot of Congress people don't know. It's because the Department of Defense isn't telling them. If anybody has the information, it's the Department of Defense.
Basically, these things are showing up every single night. You can go on Twitter or Reddit and just see they're all over the place in the sky, and no one knows what they are. And basically, no one's telling people what they are. But it's quite interesting. So we talk about alien disclosure, de-extinction, the idea of like Jurassic Park, making it a reality. And if you think that's science fiction, the first successful de-extinction took place.
Well, cloning is definitely a possibility.
Absolutely. Cloning, the first successful cloning took place in the 1990s. But we're talking about de-extinction, and the first successful de-extinction took place in 2003 with the Pyrenean ibex, which was like a goat that was located in northern
I
Spain.
know about that goat, yeah.
Okay.
Really big bones from the mountains. Isn't it Asian?
It's Pyrenean, so it was northern Spain, southern France. Yeah, I don't know if you know if we're talking about the same thing, because this goat only made it for 7 minutes of viability, but it was seen as a major advancement in the world of de-extinction. Fast forward to the year 2021, a company out of Dallas, Texas called Colossal Bioscientific is founded that has made it their
They
goal.
brought back an extinct species of ram to, like, extract the fluids out of, right?
So that happened in 2003. What Colossal Bioscientific wants to do is reintroduce the woolly mammoth using an African elephant or African elephants, and basically create hybrids and reintroduce them into the Arctic Circle within the next 3 years by the year 2028, which is extremely exciting as well. Following the woolly mammoth, they want to reintroduce the Tasmanian tiger and then the dodo bird, which very cool. I mean, these are things that you may be able to see in a safari or a zoo, or some kind of similar type of environment. So those are some things that we talk about. We talk about life extension technology. When you were born, original Monster fan.
Okay, Rabbi, where do you think I should send the article about what I was mentioning earlier?
You can send it to my Discord. Just one moment. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, okay.
Just one moment.
They need to enter my email address to read on the Washington Post. I don't know what it was.
I just sent you a request. What's that, big dog?
There we go. I think I had my information wrong.
That's
I
okay.
don't think this is Klein.
That's okay. It happens. It's almost more impressive that you're willing to admit that than anything. We all make mistakes. I'll take a look at it in just a second.
Nope, he cloned the embryos. Okay. Paragraph 4.
Okay, excellent. So was this a company or a person?
This is the private hunting range.
Oh, okay.
We did it illegally in an attempt to have larger, sheep to kill the prize for sport.
Was it successful? Was it successful?
He did make quite a bit of money from it, but he got charged and fined $15,000.
Okay, I was gonna say I didn't think that.
Cloning was successful.
I was gonna say I didn't think that was legal, so that makes sense.
It was actually legal for him to do all these things, but he did it without any permits or,
That's what I meant to say. You need, yeah, exactly. You had to be licensed to do it or whatever, certified.
And the guy didn't have the license, so he got fined $15,000, which I'm willing to bet a lot of sheep breeders paid him more than $15,000.
Yeah, probably just for one animal.
So I imagine that it would be way more profitable to sell the sperm.
I'm in agreement with you.
So, you think any of those sheep had BBC before? What a shame.
What a shame.
Original Monster fan, do you like karaoke?
Occasionally.
I sing it, but I wanted to know what karaoke you like.
Your mic gets progressively worse the further you go.
Right. So, what kind of karaoke do you like?
Just the typical. Like you go up on stage and you sing like a little dance song from the 90s.
100%, man. 100%. I get that. Well, very cool. Well, in addition to talking about de-extinction, which we just mentioned, and alien disclosure, we talk about things like life extension technology, things like stem cells and cryonics and human growth hormone and cryogenics, and we talk about things like nootropics and ambrosia therapy, where you use the platelets of younger people for the benefit of older people. Basically, when you were born organic, Monster fan, your life expectancy was probably age 80, age 100, and 120 were probably seen as nearly impossible. And with some of these utilizations of life extension technology, age 100, 120 may be more reasonable for the common person, perhaps. But eventually your body's going to break down. And when that happens, there's another type of technology called mind uploading technology, where we scan your brain into a computer like a CAT scan or an MRI. knowing where every atom is in your central nervous system and your peripheral nervous system for later download into an android, an avatar, a cybernetic being, a cyborg, a clone of yourself, a robot, whatever you want to be. But what I'm basically telling you is that you have an opportunity at digital immortality, which is really exciting.
Yeah. I find the first one pretty interesting for myself.
Hey, and every person should be entitled to their own decisions on that. There are some of us who never want, and that may become a reality for some people. And then there are people who just want to live a normal life and die at whatever age. You know, though, that we're basically creating a breakaway civilization between the people who can live forever and the people who will just live a normal Homo sapien life.
So, like, you think Carol will die before you take BBC, Rabbi?
Dog, if you aren't serious in here, I will just mute you. You have an obsession with this. It's quite clear, and that's fine. You need to go look at porn and get off. Hey, to each their own. Do whatever you need. But if you're going to interrupt important conversations with immature statements or questions, that doesn't get us anywhere.
Man, I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good.
I honestly might be.
Well, it's not. Not at this current time. Maybe in the future, perhaps, somehow, some way that will be seen as a very important question. But currently, it's not. At least in my opinion. And I'm entitled to it. When it comes to the idea of living forever and a breakaway civilization, there's certainly the idea then that we may be able to travel extreme distances and not die, which can be very exciting for interspace travel, getting into interstellar travel, and then into intergalactic travel. Basically, one of the reasons why I'm such an advocate for world peace is because if we ever want to do any of the cool stuff that we maybe hear about aliens doing, we need peace at home. Basically, if you are a country, you need to have peace at home before you do kinds of colonization. You can't have a civil war and still be doing a lot of colonization because that will make you weak. That will give you a weak foundation. So essentially, once we have peace here on Earth,
Yeah, I'd imagine, having motivation to attack something, right? Because attacking is way easier than defending. That attacking, being able to happen from other people, it would be like pretty concerning for any like colonization.
100%. 100%. So basically, ensuring that we have peace on Earth will then give us the ability to start space exploration, space tourism, terraforming other planets like Mars and perhaps moons like Europa. And then from there, we start getting into interstellar travel. The next closest star to our star, or to Earth, aside from our star, is Alpha Centauri, which is about 4 light years away. So basically, if we could create safe travel, safe space travel, and without even manipulating the current laws of physics, if we can travel near the speed of light, it would take about 4 years to get there and 4 years to get back. So you'd be able to basically have interstellar travel within the next, I don't know about with a timetable for that, but within 8 years you'd be able to go there and back, which is really exciting. That's not that far away.
Yeah.
So those are some.
The thing is, I've heard a lot of people like that about like light speed travel. I have my own like matching light speed with a hunk of technology. Pretty much seems impossible, but that would be.
Hold on. I get what you're saying.
Sound speed travel.
Okay, speed of sound is different. That's That's like 800 miles per hour. That's not anything major. Speed of light
It's
is,
not that impressive, but it would be to someone a
oh,
while.
100%. Totally agree with that. But there are ways to travel faster than the speed of light. There are things that travel faster than the speed of light. They're known as tachyons. I don't know if you're familiar with these. I'm not an accredited physicist. I'm certainly just an amateur physicist, but let's find out all about them. Yo, dog, can you
the
please
numbers
tell
are
me
confusing.
about some types of things that are faster than the speed of light? Perhaps things like tachyons, and please provide it in a list from like 1 to 20, and even hypothetical things could be in there, and just give the name of it and then a little blurb about it. I use AI all the time for this kind of stuff. So tachyons are number one. Hypothetical particles that travel faster than light. In theory, they have imaginary mass, which makes them impossible to slow down to sublight speeds. They've never been observed, but they show up in certain models of physics. So why haven't they been observed? Because they're moving so fast that I don't know how we could capture them. But according to models,
If it's moving faster, you can't stand. That was going to be the question.
right. The next is warp drives, which are known as activity, where space itself is contracted in front of the spacecraft and expanded behind it, allowing the ship to ride a wave of space-time faster than light without violating the laws of physics. This is essentially what. Do you know who Bob Lazar? That's fine. So Bob Lazar was a nuclear physicist at Los Alamos Laboratories in New Mexico and also Area 51, specifically Area S4. And one of his jobs, this is from the Joe Rogan Experience. If you've ever, well, yeah, you know Joe Rogan is. You were able to identify what's going on. So
I
it's
don't watch it regularly, but
excellent. So basically, the thought is that the UFOs that crash or have crashed, we've been able to reverse engineer them. And what is thought of is the way that they travel faster than the speed of light is using these types of warp drives. Essentially, they are able to create, using anti-gravity and specifically element 115, a force field around themselves and then warp space-time in front of them so that they're able to travel incredible distances instantaneously. The next is quantum entanglement. Entanglement particles affect each other instantaneously, no matter the distance. While information can't be transmitted faster than light in this case, the phenomena itself seems to defy the speed limits of classical communication. The next are wormholes. A speculative feature of general relativity, wormholes are shortcuts through space-time, theoretically allowing faster than light travel between distant points. They're mostly theoretical and would require exotic matter to remain stable. But when we talk about exotic matter, we're talking about like element 115, which is known as moscovium, also unpentium. They're all the same name for the same thing. There are causality violations in certain warped models of space-time. You could have paths that allow an effect to precede its cause. These can lead to scenarios where information or objects could travel faster than light. Closed time-like curves, theoretically, if you could bend space-time in a way that you loop back on yourself, as in time travel, you could travel faster than light in a closed loop, though these kinds of solutions are speculative and riddled with paradoxes. Another is phase velocity. In wave theory, the phase velocity of a wave can exceed the speed of light. For instance, light waves in a certain media or mathematical formulations of light behave in ways where their phase velocity might surpass c, or the speed of light, though this doesn't allow for the information transfer faster than light. Superluminal gravitational waves. Some models predict that gravitational waves might propagate at superluminal speeds under specific conditions, but this is very theoretical and doesn't suggest anything physically could actually travel faster than light. Axions, hypothetical particles proposed in some models of particle physics, these particles could potentially exist and have extremely low mass, and some variations of their theoretical behavior could suggest superluminal movement. I mean, just with AI, we were able to name like 10 of them. Now, let's say 9 of them fail. Okay, but if one of them works, that means that we may be able to travel massive distances very quickly. And that's very exciting. And it only makes sense that if we see these crafts in the air every single day, right now, if I go to Reddit, I'm going to tell you that there are people who are, or Twitter. Let's go to Twitter. There are people that are uploading UFO videos that are flying over their house. So just one moment. If I go, just type in UFO. I'm not saying you do it. I'll do it. And go to latest. Senior White House official allegedly from EBC News. Now, if you're like, what's EBC News? I don't know. It's somebody's. It's some media organization. Another multiple UFO sightings in New Jersey. That was 2 minutes ago. A lot of these are in other languages, so bear with me. I've got to scroll through. Okay, here's one of them. UFO. Oh, whoa. Are you kidding me? This is crazy. There's a UFO that opens fire on a military installation. Look at this thing, firing at a military installation. This is the first time I've ever seen anything like this. The reason why I say that is I've never seen them fire things off. No way. And this, I mean, I don't know, this makes sense. They were flying over some base that starts with a P in New Jersey for the past few weeks. Okay, so that was posted 4 minutes ago. Now, I'm skeptical of everything that I see on here, so it's like, okay, here's another one. Wow. Okay. Okay, this was posted 6 minutes ago. I've been studying UFOs for the better part of more than a decade every single day, and I've never seen anything like this. Here's another one firing. Wow. No way. They are really firing things. Here's one firing at something, and it's a different video than that other one, which tells you, like, you know, it's just not somebody who's got After Effects. This thing is firing like you'd see in a video game. Yeah. Now, there's a question. It's like, wow, here's one in Miami. Hundreds of UFOs, drones have been seen flying over New York. So, you know, I mean, this isn't like being ignored. The government just isn't willing to say what they are. But long story short, if those are extraterrestrial vehicles of some sort, which it seems like they are, the government has already said it's not a foreign government and they're not ours. So it's like, okay, well, what else could it be? And they don't want to say. But with that being said, those things have advanced physics that we can't even basically comprehend at certain points. So the 10 things that we just read of ways to travel faster than the speed of light, these things could have ways to do it. Just one moment. I want to get off this farmer's dog thing.
Help keep your dog at an ideal weight, which is one of the proven processed food.com. Learn more. Offer applicable for new customer.
Cliff and Goonies.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Shop.
So, I mean, that's just what's going on right now, which is really wild. So you don't really know anything about Bob Lazar, do you? I mean, you just said, no, I don't.
No.
Just one moment. Like, if you ever watch a Joe Rogan, it's this one. I watch this thing multiple times a day with people. Just one moment.
That's crazy. That was what's crazy. How's that creepypasta go?
Creepypasta. Crazy. That was crazy once. They put me in a room, a rubber room full of rats, and rats make me crazy.
I want to announce some upcoming tour dates.
This
I'll be
isn't
coming
it. This
to
isn't it.
see
I mean,
you
I'm pulling it up in a
with
second.
the Return of the Rat Tour, October 12th in Wichita, Kansas.
Here it is. I mean, this is the dominating thing I think that I've ever seen. I mean, I know this story pretty well, but just watch it. It's absolutely phenomenal. Talking about
You need to turn off audio up to your other cam. Just has it on the monitor.
I know if it's bothering you, just mute it yourself.
Boom. And we're live. First of all, cheers, gentlemen. Let's have a little toast. Relax. Bob, thank you very much for doing this. I really appreciate it. I understand that you've told the story many, many times. You've been grilled many, many times, and it's very stressful for you. So I really, really appreciate your time. For people who don't know the story, there's a documentary. Jeremy Corbell has a documentary out right now. It's called Bob Lazar, Area.
We're gonna keep it going. I'm right here. I just have to adjust I just have to adjust my cameras here, so just bear with me. If you've ever wondered what it looks like to start a YouTube stream, though, you'll be able to see it.
I have a question that is pretty irrelevant. How did you get people in your server?
Oh, I've got a bunch of ways. Just a moment, and I will go into that. Okay, so I'm live in like 12 different 12 different Discord servers right now, simultaneously with my camera on, including like Aiden Ross's.
Yeah, his Discord server.
Yep, I'm the #1 streamer there of all time. So he's been in my YouTube channel, and he has allowed me to live stream for the last 8 months in his Discord. So if you ever go into his Discord, you can see me, and I'm live in there. And I'm live, like I'm the #1 streamer all time in iShowSpeed's Discord. I'm the #1 streamer in quite a few different Discords. So people see my account and they're like, hey, what is this all about? They a lot of times just will message me, or they'll click on the Discord and hop in here. And I mean, I only started this Discord server less than 6 months ago, and I've got 1,500 people in here, which I think is very good. And I mean, I'm not saying there aren't any bots in here, but they're generally mostly real people who come in and check in and see what's going on. If you see, I mean, I have a huge Discord when it comes to how many channels I have. And if you ever are curious, just click on the chat of each of the channels and you'll see I've got a lot of information in there. And then I also get people in here from a really unique way. which is do you know what Kick is? Kick?
As a streaming service, Kate, do you stream on there as well?
Yeah, so I did, but since they don't save your data, and I'm all about saving my data, it wasn't very attractive to me to stream on there, though I have. So what I do instead, I have over 100 YouTube accounts, over 200 Instagram accounts,